there's a lack of education, a
Hmm.
huge lack of education, and what exactly is healthy.
I could actually argue that running eventually would have a negative impact on weight loss because your body becomes more efficient at
Yes,
running off of less energy.
right.
Therefore, to get deficit and burn off excess energy takes even more work.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so the whole running, well, I run 6 miles a day. And here's a good example. So somebody comes in and they're overweight and they, well, I don't want to just run for cardio. Well, how long have you been running? For 5 years. You're still fucking fat.
Yeah.
Obviously, it didn't fucking work.
Right.
When I
Yeah.
was in the Navy, when I was in aircrew school, dude, we saw kids that were overweight that could run faster than us.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Paradise Pump Bodybuilding in Hawaii. Anyway,
Mark wants to talk about whales.
I'm Mark. I do. I want to talk about whales. I love whales. I love dolphins. I love all types of sea mammals. They're really cool.
I like the financial whales. That's the only type
You're
of whales. 'Cause I'm more
she
into.
wants financial whales.
Yes,
I want to be a financial whale.
Jeff wants to be a financial
me
whale.
too. I'm in alignment with that.
And well, there's different types of whales. I mean, now we're talking about them right now. So yeah, there's whales that swim the ocean, and there's whales that walk the earth, guys. And are we talking about financial whales? What are we talking about here? You know,
This is a fitness show, so
this is a fitness show.
we don't talk
No,
about finance.
really, what this is about is, I think, and I'm sure Jed is on the same page as me. Is we're just kind of fed up with a lot of people that just have excuses, right? And just excuse after excuse after excuse. Like it just gets fucking old. And it has to do with, just like we're talking about fitness, obviously. So let's talk about like weight loss goals. Let's talk about, achieving those goals, like, or health issues, right? People that have health issues and they continually keep having health issues. And it's like, why do you keep having health issues? I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. Are you really? Because I kind of don't believe you, and a lot of times, sometimes, right? There's people that have health issues and they start doing the right thing, but unfortunately, they've not caused so much damage. It's just like almost beyond repair, right? So unfortunately, they miss that window and they're probably not going to live very long, or they're going to be in a lot of pain for the rest of their life. So it sucks. But yeah, I think it just goes back to, again, stop. Like, what's with the excuses? Like, why not just take care of yourself? Unless you hate yourself that much. Which I was telling Jed, I said, I think a lot of people hate themselves that much that they end up doing stuff for other people. Maybe they got a girlfriend, or maybe they want to look good for somebody or for something, but it's not really for themselves. And that's why they've never
Mhm.
been able to do it, because they've never really cared about themselves that
Jed, you had a
much.
thought?
there, those people you see where every time you say something, they come back with an excuse. Well, it's like, well, then do this. Well, I can't because of this. Well, then just get up earlier. Well, I've already get up early enough. And when they start that, my one thing I say, I cut them off and I say, less excuses, more solutions. That's your fucking problem.
Yeah.
Mm.
Your excuses outweigh your solutions. Like there's no, I mean, life in general, and your fitness journey, wherever the fuck you want to hashtag it. It's troubleshooting.
Yeah.
You're changing your lifestyle patterns. You're going to get bumps in the road. When it happens once, that's not bad. It happens once. So let's see, how do we keep this from happening again? If it starts happening 3 or 4 times, you give me the same excuse. Like for instance, oh, I'm late. Oh, I'm going to be late. Oh, I'm late. Eventually, you're going to wake up and leave fucking earlier.
Yeah,
You know?
right? For
Or,
real.
I mean, like, well, there was traffic. Well, fucking leave earlier.
Yeah.
But then they don't. And it's
Right.
like they don't troubleshoot. They don't fix any of their issues. They just keep whining about their issues.
Just they fall into a pattern of failure.
Yeah.
It's just like
I can't. The thing that blows my mind is the ones that have been doing it for years, like years, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Like you're just like, this is how you live your life. Like this is it for you, because obviously it's been years and nothing ever changes. And it's like, this is the way you live your life, and then you've just learned to just create a whole bunch of excuses to work around the fact that you're a lazy ass and you just don't give a shit about stuff or other people, because obviously a lot of things that you do probably affect the people, especially if you're going to like a job and somebody's waiting on you, then yeah, that's pretty fucked up. So
I
it
think,
drives me crazy.
like when you say, do you hate yourself that much? There could be some means of self-loathing, but the other flip side of the coin to the question is, do you not love yourself enough to take care of you?
Hmm.
Or have to take upon the responsibilities necessary to be like, you know, healthy, whether you want to do it like financially or physically, mentally, emotionally. Like, do you not love yourself enough? Secondly, I think it's very it's beside it being irresponsible, I think it's very selfish because I'm gonna say it like it is, and don't get mad at me for saying this. When you're unhealthy, out of shape, overweight, you can barely walk, move, you can barely do anything by yourself, you have to rely upon other people, and then it falls on the other people's laps for you to like depend on them, like when these people have their own shit going on, you know. So I do, if you're not taking control of your own health physically, mentally, and everything, yeah, that's freaking selfish and leaving it upon
Right.
somebody else.
There are some people out there that do so much for everybody else, they don't take time for themselves, and that will ripple out on other people.
Mhm.
That's
So
so true.
I understand there's people out there that enjoy helping other people. I'm one of those people sometimes, but you can't do it at the point where you're sacrificing yourself.
Yeah.
So there's a line there you have to be careful not to cross.
Hmm.
Because if you start degrading, your health goes bad, you start doing worse, and you're not gonna be able to help as many people. But it will have a ripple effect. So you have to make sure you do take time for yourself.
That's that put your own mask on before helping others. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. On that
Like you can't help others until you help yourself.
Yeah.
Mm.
Honestly, yeah. But then there's the other aspect of this is kind of outside of our little industry because people are hiring us for the knowledge, but there are a lot of people that just think they're doing the right thing when they're not. You know,
Yeah.
like relying on the box says low fat. This is healthy. No, it's not. You know, or like, oh, I was told I need to start running, jogging, you know, and I'm going to lose the weight by doing that. You know, it's just like, and then eat like my high sugar, low fat meals. You know, it's just like there's a lack of education, a huge lack of education, and what exactly is healthy.
I could actually argue that running eventually would have a negative impact on weight loss because your body becomes more efficient
Yes.
at running off of less energy.
Right?
Therefore, to get deficit and burn off excess energy takes even more work.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so the whole run, well, I run 6 miles a day. And here's a good example. So somebody comes in and they're overweight and well, why don't I just run for cardio? Well, how long have you been running? For 5 years. You're still fucking fat.
Yeah.
Obviously, it didn't fucking work.
Right.
When I
Yeah.
was in the Navy, when I was in aircrew school, dude, we saw kids that were overweight that could run faster than us.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I'm not into that.
And as
And
far
you-
as
yeah.
thermodynamics, we know that your neat expenditure of energy, everything else but exercise is what helps you burn more calories, more fat. I mean, so, and
you go-
that's another rabbit hole that we could go
yeah,
down.
so if it goes
as
too
well.
intense, it can't burn.
Yeah,
Fat.
exactly.
Right. That's why you'll see these CrossFitters. A lot of the casual CrossFitters, they're like overweight, but they have weird looking bodies.
Yeah,
like,
very boxy
like what's
square.
going on? They don't. Yeah.
Or
Like,
actually more so, like more so just go to like I don't know, name your big fitness like place, Planet Fitness,
yeah,
24-hour
yeah.
fitness, Bally's or whatever. And you look at the cardio room
Yeah.
or the cardio classes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those aren't the lean people in the gym.
No.
You know,
no.
not by far. And then like even a lot of the instructors aren't all right, they're not fat, but they're not lean either. You know, and it just kind of goes to show you that's not the way. Just like you said, like you're burning glucose
Mhm.
and then you're honestly only raising your metabolic rate at the time that you're doing the exercise.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But without the resistance training, that raises your metabolic rate at rest. And the more intense your training session is, then the higher your metabolism will be at rest. And at rest where you're burning body fat.
But their mentality is so skewed. They don't want to get bulky. Like,
I
you
love
know,
that.
like lifting too much.
And you
too
know who I
heavy.
hear that from is women, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is my answer to that. It's like I have way more anabolic androgenic hormones than any female. And I tell you what, I've been trying to get bulky. It is not easy. It is not easy at all.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like you think you're just going to lift a little bit of weight and get bulky. No, you're not going to get bulky.
People just want tone. I
Yeah.
love tone.
I just want
Tone was
to
definitely from like the 80s. Tone up your arms. You know, it was like the commercials and stuff.
But that was also the birth of those
all those
the
infomercials.
TV no the
Infomercials.
TV aerobics like dance.
Oh
things
yeah.
and-
Oh yes, yes, yes.
yeah.
Those
and
shows
the
were very
kickboxing
popular.
aerobics. What was that
Those,
guy's Billy
yeah.
Banks?
Billy Banks,
Billy
Fibo.
Banks.
Yeah, like-
Yeah, those were. Oh
I mean,
man,
Richard
they made a lot
Simmons
of
kicked
money.
it off with his aerobic, whatever.
He did. Sweating to the oldies and stuff.
and you know, like yeah. Wait, who was the guy? Yeah, who was that crazy guy with the hair?
Tony
Little.
Tony Little.
Huh? No, the fruity guy.
Yeah, that was Richard
Richard
Simmons.
Simmons.
Yeah, Richard Simmons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Richard
yeah.
Fruity. He's not alive anymore, by the
Yeah,
way.
God
But then,
bless his
yeah, he
heart.
got a gastric bypass though, didn't he? Like that's how
I
he
don't
lost
know.
his
He was,
weight.
No,
he
I
was
think-
big before or
No,
something,
he lost
right?
a bunch of weight in the 80s something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he did it before. Yeah, he came down and then he just became
People thinking, oh, I'm eating salad, it's healthy, but what the fuck kind of dressing are you using? And it's like, it's swimming in high
Ranch.
fat. Yeah,
Yeah.
ranch. Jed said ranch.
Well, what about what about people that like they end up having health issues and then they have to change their whole lifestyle right now because of the health issues, and then they sit there and I don't say they're necessarily complaining. They do kind of they bitch about it a little bit. Well, now I can only eat this tonight. Ah man, this, and they're sitting there like I just can't feel bad for them because I'm like, you did it to yourself. Like you created this,
How,
and then now
how
you're
important is your quality
upset.
of life to you? That's what.
Yeah, and I tell I have a buddy who has these problems, right? And I tell him, I say, hey man, you had a good run, dude. I was all those years of just buffets and picking out, bro. I said, you had a good run, dude, and now this is punishment for you.
Catching up to you.
And he looks at me and he goes, man, it's crazy. You just kind of eat whenever you want, whatever you want. I don't care. I go, yeah, but I bodybuilded for like 30 something years. So I suffered most of my life, right? Bodybuilding, and I did it on purpose because I liked it. And now I still eat pretty good, but I can eat whatever I want. And I don't have health issues because of why? Because I took care of my body, dude. And I'm like, you're on the errand now. Now you're like suffering and you can't just, it's not funny anymore, is it? You can't just go out and eat whatever you want now. See, you didn't take care of it. And the sad part is you knew it. You knew when you were doing all this stuff and you were overeating, you knew it was bad for you. And you knew it was causing issues.
I can actually get away with eating more now than I could when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like, go out and eat a couple of times a week at show. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
well, that's what I mean, right? Yeah. Like, it's just a balance, right? Yeah. Like, again, I can eat a lot. I don't even like eating a lot anyway. I've never been a big eater.
Years
So
to weight training, like you have a much better metabolic function.
yeah.
And then you also have metabolic flexibility, right? So that's another thing a lot of people don't like.
Yeah.
If we want to switch to a high carb diet or a high fat diet, like our bodies can process it, no problem,
Well,
because we eat a
and
variety of stuff. Instead of just eating like your standard American shit diet of processed carbohydrates.
yeah.
And then they're like, oh, I'm going to become a vegan. They go right from that to a vegan. And 99% of the time they fail.
That's
It's
not
just too,
sustainable.
yeah, it's just too
But
much of a
we
drastic.
also work out, right?
You know?
Like, we don't
I
work
mean-
out for like 2 months and then take 6 months off and then come
But
back
still,
in
we
for 2
have
months.
a lot of muscle on us. We're not bulky. Yes, but that does help increase our metabolic rate as well
Oh,
too. So,
massively.
I
Yeah.
mean, the more muscle you put on, the easier it is to stave off that. And a lot of people are missing that part as
Mhm.
well too. Even as for women, since I'm getting older, close to perimenopausal, um, there's a lot of general practitioners that are like, oh yeah, you got because your weight and so on and so forth. Maybe you should stop lifting so much, so heavy, and ease up on the lifting and do more cardio.
They don't know
You're
shit.
fucking backwards.
They don't know shit.
You need the muscle,
Yeah.
the bone density, the everything in between,
Yes.
for osteoporosis preventive measures. And I'm like, fuck this doctor. I'm out.
That's a
I
whole
know
nother
that.
topic we can go on.
Yeah.
Like how many terrible
Do more
doctors.
cardio, stop lifting weights. Fuck you.
I know.
You know,
I know.
a common
crazy.
misconception that you guys are talking about people say they're eating certain things thinking they're healthy.
Yeah.
Is you go to a restaurant and they'll have their normal menu and they'll have like their health choices, like healthy menu.
Mhm.
And so somebody will tell me, man, well, I picked something off the healthy menu. Healthy, well, in that instance, it means not as shitty as the
Yeah,
food they already
yeah,
serve.
but it's still shitty.
That doesn't mean it's going to fall in the price of what you need to eat. It's just not as bad.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
less fat menu.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a whole lot of
It's
that.
a fucking marketing scheme. That's how they try to
That's-
get
yeah.
you
Well,
nicer,
that's
and it's
the-
all going to be more expensive.
Right? Yeah. We're kind of like people as a society, we're fighting that, fighting these food companies that are like selling us garbage and saying how healthy it is. We're fighting a healthcare system that, the same thing. It's like, you don't need to like change your diet, right? Just take this pill, just take these drugs,
Cut
and
out red meat. That's the one I can't stand.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
gosh.
Oh my God. Yeah. Don't even get me started. That just drives me
I
nuts.
know you're a fan of RFK, but do you follow his X space feed? Like every so many hours or minutes, he posts up another picture. He's like, "Come January 20th, I'm banning this food and this food."
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
all of the ultra processed with all of
Oh.
those dyes and
Oh, he's
everything and
doing it.
preservatives.
Oh,
He's like,
nice.
and this food and this food. I'm like, thank God.
You know how much
Because we
easier
need
jobs
to-
are
Somebody that
gonna
actually
be?
cares,
Was that-
You know how
right?
much easier our jobs are going to be?
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
All
I
of that.
mean, like,
Somebody that actually
how
cares.
does anybody oppose that? Which just, it's,
Big Pharma does apparently.
oh,
Yeah.
well, I know, but I mean, just like, like, look at like anyone at the New York Times, right? They're all like shitting this guy. And it's like, all right, so look at the CEO of this United Healthcare that just got assassinated,
Yeah.
And there's not a single, I don't care what platform you go on, there's not one single comment on there that are like, oh, that's, this is a family man and all this kind of stuff. Like everyone's been just completely fucked over by our insurance, our healthcare system. It's just the same story, and from what I've read, I don't know this personally, but
In your
they do
opinion.
have the highest like denial rate of any other insurance company since this guy started. And they
Mm.
implemented this AI program, like this CEO like implemented this AI program, which had a 90% like failure rate, where it was denying like 90% of wrong things, and people die. Like lots of thousands of people die,
So like Terminator's actually happening. The machine
Yeah,
kills
exactly.
people. Yeah.
We're expendable.
And it's just like our whole,
yeah.
all our regulatory industries have been captured by like this crony capitalism corporation, just like the two biggest tobacco companies became the two biggest food companies.
Yes.
And they spend billions of dollars engineering like food to become addictive, and it's filled with poisons, And it was just, I was telling Mark, or even our like, most of our multivitamins have poison in them. And like people think, oh, well, I'm taking a multivitamin every day,
Mm.
like folic acid, vitamin B9, that's freaking poison. It's just like, it's not, our bodies can't use it. It's just like, and it's in everything. It's like, it's fortified in all our cereals. It's like, why are they putting folic acid in all this shit when our bodies can't even utilize folic acid? It's just like, I don't understand, like, and then what is that? The fluoride in the water and all that kind of stuff. And it's
Oh,
like,
I seen something. It was so funny. They're talking about taking fluoride out of the water, and one of the comments was like, "Oh, now we're all gonna lose our teeth." I'm like, "Oh my God."
yeah,
They're being
Level of
serious.
critical
Yeah.
thinking. Are you guys serious?
yeah.
Now you're gonna lose your teeth. Really? All right. I'm pretty sure
I can't believe that. I mean, fluoride in the water it's a thing, right? They've been
Yeah.
doing it for years.
Yeah.
They just add it to the water. Like, what do they pour? Gallons of fluoride? I don't understand how they like do it. Like, how does that whole thing work? Somebody there at the water plant's just like got the big 50-gallon thing of fluoride pouring. Like, well, how does this work? Like, I don't know.
The thing about this, when has our government ever done anything for us health wise? Like, that didn't have a financial incentive to do so.
never.
Well, we're just sheep out on the ranch, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this invisible fence,
We're
right?
expendable.
that we don't see, right? It's just this invisible line.
Well, there's no,
That's,
there's literally now like numerous studies,
yeah.
enough to even form meta-analysis of fluoride, like lowering your IQ levels.
Actually, yes, and we talked about this before. They've
Yeah.
been trying to dumb us down for ever since
That
ever.
sounds
You
more
talk about,
plausible
like,
to
the
me, you
whole
know?
education system and everything else. A lot of people lack the means of critical thinking. That's why when they think, "Oh, low fat, I'm eating like oh, low fat cookies, it must be good for my health." Like fucking critically think.
Yeah.
We've they've taken all of that away, and we've seen that obviously by the way people do vote as well too. I'm just gonna say it. I'm calling it what it is.
If I had a choice between two macronutrients, that's all I eat for the rest of my life, it'd be protein and fats.
Yeah.
Like, I
Absolutely.
would totally cut carbs out.
100%.
But everybody, they think low fat, high carb is good. It's like I mean, I know we've evolved from cavemen and we need different things. Like I get that, so carbohydrates are good, but we don't have to have them.
No.
As I'm wearing this carboholic
Yeah.
shirt, he's willing to cut out carbs.
You're wearing that.
Well,
I
it's like
love- I
it's
love
the one
sugar.
nutrient that you can actually completely live without and live a
Yes.
full life, right?
And be fine.
Yeah, like with the proteins, we have to have those 9 essential amino acids.
That
You
we
know?
can't store, so we have
Right.
to keep readily getting.
Yeah, we are right, exactly. And our bodies can't like the 11 non-essential. Our bodies can produce from other amino acids. Like if we need more methionine, we can make more methionine. But we can't make leucine or isoleucine or any of the branch chain or any of that stuff. And it's like, and when it comes to fat, our bodies cannot make EPA and DHA, like the essential fat, the 3 omega-3 fatty acids
Yeah.
and ALA. Although our bodies can make ALA from EPA and DHA, but it can't be in the reverse.
Yeah.
But regardless, like we have to have those fats, otherwise we die.
Yeah.
But there are no essential carbohydrates.
No.
You can go your whole life without ever eating one single bit of carbohydrate, and you will live just fine because our bodies will produce glucose, via
And
gluconeogenesis.
if you don't get EPA and DHA, your body will be more likely to hold on to body fat. And I explain this to people. The winter's coming and you haven't bought new clothes for winter, you're going to hold on to your old ones, right? You don't have new ones coming in.
That's right.
So
That's
if
an
you're
analogy.
like I said episodes ago, the first rule of dieting is to give your body everything it needs so it has no reason to hold on to things.
Yes.
Because it will hold on to shit it doesn't get.
Oh yeah.
Natural guys stop drinking water. They will hold water.
Yep.
You don't get those essential fatty acids, your body will be less likely to get, especially in the stubborn areas.
Right.
You'll be less likely to get that body fat.
That's right. That's a good point.
And a lot of people go into these starvation diets thinking that they're gonna lose weight. You will. You lose a lot of water and a lot of everything in between, but at the same time, your body's gonna hold on to fat for storage because your body's back into this fight or flight mode as well too. So
And it'll adjust real quick too.
absolutely. And then your body will go back into rebound, then you'll gain twice the weight. So I mean
Yeah, there was this old. I bring this up often. I think I have in our previous podcast, but there was this very large study. It was like 200 participants, and the name of the study was the Biggest Loser study, and they literally took obese people, like 200. It started with 200, but obviously all 200 didn't make it. If you ever watch that show, The Biggest Loser, and this was done in Australia, and so they put them on this Biggest Loser, like where they lived at a campus type thing. And, I don't know, they had a Julian Michaels screaming at them or something like that. But they literally like worked them like super hard and put them on a very strict diet and to where they lost massive amounts of weight. But the study was to measure all their metabolic functions prior to it, and which they had, so prior to like going through this massive weight loss transformation, when they measured their metabolic function, their glucose, fasted glucose levels, all that kind of stuff. It was all kinds of messed up, as you would be expected. And then when they got them down to BMI, the ones that made it, but over 100 actually made it through the whole thing, and they got them down to like, what's considered like a BMI test. And then they measured all their metabolic functions, and they had all come right, like for the most part, like completely come right, like. They totally got their glucose level, their insulin sensitivity back, their metabolic, their T3 levels, everything like came right. But what always astonished them was then you put this person, let's just say they were 450 pounds, now they're 180 pounds, and they put them on back on a 2,000 like calorie diet, like a normal person, what regular metabolic function has. When they put these people back on that 2,000 calorie diet, they exploded back in the weight,
Yeah.
like super fast, like the rebound. And they're like, and they thought, well, that was because their metabolic function was never fixed, but it was. So what made them explode? And so what they learned was prior also to doing of their massive weight loss transformation, they measured the diversity of their gut microbes. And then they did the same when they got down to BMI, and there was a drastic difference in how their gut microbiome looked like. And the big thing was there's two like large species of, I mean, there's trillions of strands of bugs, but you can categorize most of the gut microbiome into like three categories. You have your proteolytic bugs, protein-eating bacteria, then you have your lipolytic, your fat-eating, and then you have your glycolytic bugs. And the glycolytic bugs are called firmicutes, the species of firmicutes, and the proteolytic and lipolytic bugs are called bacteroidetes. Now, the firmicute bugs, when they got down to BMI, they grew tenfold. So they had like abundance, like tenfold abundance, because they starved them. And so that's when we learned that the firmicute bug, which is necessary for survival in life, because that particular bug has the ability to extract more calories out of a given food, of the calories that we give that food, for survival, basically. And when you starve that bug, it goes dormant and then it multiplies. And so, yeah. So now, like when you, and it takes about 12 months for it to die off completely. Yeah, this is what they learned, right? So this Biggest Loser diet happened within 12, less than 12 months, right? So they just had all these dormant bugs. And as soon as you start taking an abundance of like carbohydrates again, they wake them up and now you're like storing calories like crazy. So then they learn, okay, well, the gut microbes have a huge like influence on this rebound. So how do we fix that? And the way you fix that is with a modbiotic, which is polyphenols. And polyphenols will actually kill that bug as it's like going dormant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like foods that are high polyphenols are like polyphenols is actually a natural insecticide that the plant or the fruit produces, and always found in the skin of the fruit because that's where the bugs are coming, right? So the polyphenols in an orange is in the peel. The polyphenols in a banana is in the peel. We don't eat the peels, right?
Mhm.
So berries, like dark berries or like blackberries, blueberries.
Especially berries because of the high level of antioxidants.
Yeah, right. And strawberries and stuff. So they're all really high in polyphenols, and then green tea, right?
Mhm.
So the big polyphenol in that is the EGCG.
Yes.
Yeah, epigallation 3 gallate.
It helps break down fatty acids.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
the thing is with you, I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but real quick, but you see it, a lot of these people that do compete, they go into like these starvation diets, dwindling down into getting into the show, for weeks on ends, maybe even months.
Mhm.
They have really bad metabolic damage of some sort. I don't know
Mhm.
what it is. I'm not calling it by any of medical terms. The doctors misdiagnose it as like a Hashimoto's disease or thyroid and so on, but it's actually that dormant bug that you're talking about, and it takes a long time for you to get out of that metabolic fatigue.
does.
Long time. So for those of you guys who suffer that, especially post competition, I worked with a few individuals. It took like over a year, just to be okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. And then we always kind of knew that too. Like if you like went through a weight loss thing, and if you were able to hold that weight loss for about a year, that became your new homeostasis balance
Yeah.
point, right?
And it goes high and low for your
Right,
body weight
exactly,
as well,
right?
too.
And again, the
Body weight
bug is
set
very
point.
much
Yeah.
like part of that. Your gut microbes are very much a part of that,
That's funny you say that. When I first started training people in bodybuilding, I was generally more obese,
Mm-hmm.
and I could always get to like 250 real quick.
Mm.
Now I eat better and exercise. I do more cardio and stuff now, but now my body weight will hardly go over 200 unless I really push food and start training.
Right. Yeah.
So used to, I could gain weight really quick. I mean, I can now, but like it's my body likes to be around 195, 200. That's where I feel best.
Yeah, it's like so you found a new balance basically. You
But
know,
I did that changing all my lifestyle. I was like, I don't spend my off seasons just eating all this crap all the time.
right?
I don't go out of shows and put on 30 pounds in a weekend like I used to, and have to
Exactly.
couldn't walk up steps for 2 weeks because my ankles were swollen. Like that actually happened. That
Oh, yeah.
fucked me up.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I don't even remember if I took a diuretics at the time or not, but I remember
Probably
I
should've.
rebounded like
You probably should.
but I rebounded like 30 pounds. I remember walking up the steps to the opposite powerhouse, and I would just like have to hold the rail because my ankles would hurt.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
But you know, I've got better habits and stuff, and because I have better habits, I can, you know, like even after the Christmas party, I was back down to 205 in just a few days,
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
and
Mm.
just eating back on my normal diet, not having to compensate the diet. Well, I ate this, so let me cut some carbs out for a few days. Like, no, I'm just going to go back on and see what happens. I bounced right back.
Oh wow.
Nice.
You know, I was bloated for like a day, then all the water and stuff left. I was back to my normal weight.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Mm.
what I'm trying to say is, like, you want new homeostasis, a new baseline, you got to change your habits.
You have
what
to.
do.
Yep.
And
You-
sustain
yeah,
it.
and
Yeah,
sustain
people
it.
come in
Sustain
here,
it.
they want plans and programs and shit, but they want to be a different person, but they want to do the same shit every day.
Right. Right. It's not gonna happen.
It's
Yeah.
like you're gonna, if you don't like who you see when you wake up in the morning, you got to stop doing what that guy did the day before.
Yep. That
You
100%.
know, you even take that into being a form of manifestation. Like if you want to be a pro athlete, you start acting like a pro athlete.
That's right.
You don't start doing pro athlete things when you turn pro athlete.
Yeah.
Yep. And don't
You know?
don't think of what you're doing like, oh, I'm on a diet. No, you have to. It's a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
You know, diet sounds temporary. You know, and it can't be temporary. You know, it's just like
Yeah.
it doesn't mean you're never going to eat ice cream again or
No,
like
you're
you know.
shifting the scales.
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
direction. That's all you're doing.
Yeah, that's all you're doing. Yeah, perfect way to say it. You're just shifting the scale, the balance of, you know, how much garbage. And you know what? When you eat clean too, and you see how you feel with the low inflammation and your brain clarity is better and everything, like
Yes.
you don't want to eat garbage. Like
Yeah.
you don't even crave it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just but you have to get to that point. And I'm telling you, like it will change your life.
So I've told people when I put them on a baseline diet, and after about a week, like their weight may drop a little bit. But like, man, I feel so much better. I'm like, this is what fucking normal feels
Yes,
like.
yes, that's what normal
this is
feels like.
normal.
You have
right.
felt like shit and been in a deficit and
Yeah.
eaten once or twice a day and eating crap, and you felt like crap for so long. You don't know what it's like to feel normal.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
I put you on that diet, and you're on it for a week or two, and you start feeling really good. I'm like, this should be your baseline.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I think people think that feeling normal is like, oh, it feels really good when it's just normal.
Yeah.
They don't realize like that's
Well,
how you're supposed
their
to
normal
be.
is that their normal was the junk food, the fast food, the insta everything, you know, and they're getting that dopamine hit every single
Mhm.
like we talked
Yeah.
about before. So that's what they thought was normal because it felt good, like for in that moment.
Yeah, in the moment, right? Eating all
Yeah.
that food and it felt great in the moment, right?
And you know what?
Yeah.
Like these bugs, like it's gonna sound weird, but I'm telling you, there's something to this. The bugs in your gut, they have a conscience,
Yes.
and they will dictate. They will tell your brain what to crave. You know, your brain with the synapses and all that kind of stuff makes the association between low blood sugar and cake, or something. You know what I mean? Like that's a learned memory.
Mhm.
You know, like the bugs aren't doing that, but the bugs are telling like I crave glucose.
Or like you, so they associate with like your
Yeah,
body might need
bugs.
dairy, something in dairy, and you're like,
Right.
okay, oh Cheetos, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's like we always thought, you know, with the because that was a huge discovery made like as of recently that the gut-brain axis is a
Mhm.
two-way street. It's not just a single. They used to always think, you know, that the hypothalamus went down the vagus nerve to the gut, telling the gut what to do. But it's the opposite. The gut
The
is
gut,
actually
it's
telling the
its
brain
own-
what it
yeah.
wants to do.
So the
Mm.
what you said earlier, if you need glucose, since your body goes into survival state, it's going to tell you to eat what's going to fix it the fastest.
Yeah,
So it's going to tell you to go after the sugar and
Yes,
stuff. Even though eating
exactly.
a fucking baked potato would fix it,
100%.
it's just going to take a little longer.
right.
But yeah, it's going to tell you to crave whatever's going to fix it quickest because your body's trying to get back on track.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and then, yeah, and like you're going to get those signals if you like keep spiking your blood sugar and you get the insulin dump, and then you spike it and you
Yeah.
get the insulin dump.
Yeah.
You know, that's that giant wave where every time you know you're that person like that when you like eat lunch, you just want to crash
Crash.
afterwards. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
when you know you got it right and you're eating clean. When you eat lunch, you should be energized. Like, okay,
Some people are not even consciously aware of the fact that some of the food they might have created food allergies to as well.
oh yeah,
So therefore, it might be healthy food, good choice food, but at the same time, despite what's been put in it from our government,
I know.
they eat it thinking it's healthy food,
Right.
but then they still go through that crap
They
Oh
still
yeah,
get that. Yeah.
because of your
Yeah.
food allergy. So a lot of people are not cognizant to that. All the little nuances of that. I mean,
there's so much. There's so, and there was actually just a new study released on the association between the firmicute species of bugs and viscular fat, and it's amazing that the firmicute bugs has a strong association with storing viscular fat, which is the worst,
Mhm.
by far. And the study they did with that was they put people, they had one group on a standard like American diet, and the other group was on a Mediterranean diet where they were drinking green tea twice. And they had to like a 1% decrease in viscular fat, the group that was doing the Mediterranean diet,
Yeah.
which is high in polyphenols to begin with, and then had the extra 2 like cups of green tea,
Mhm.
and it was that big of a difference, like
That's huge.
huge
That's big.
difference. And viscular fat is hard to get rid of.
Right.
Like
the white fat
it's like
in
9
comparison
holds.
to brown fat.
Yeah, right. It's like holds like 9 times greater than regular
That
fat.
that green tea Hawaii stuff is very high concentrated in EGCGs.
Yeah.
That's why it got really popular for fat loss for a while.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Use it.
And that association with fat loss is through killing that firmicute bug.
Yeah.
It's just like we didn't understand how it was like creating lipolysis, but now we do. And it's funny too because I just like saw this new study, and it was a popular health guy on YouTube, and like I was reading this stuff like years ago, like way prior to COVID, about learning the gut microbiome, and everyone was like, "That's wackery science. That's just like
Yeah.
just like that." And now this guy was like, "Hey, it turns out there's these 2 big species of bugs, Bacteroides and firmicutes." I'm like, I told my wife, I'm like, "Look, we seen this stuff like 6, 7 years ago, like we were screaming this, It's just like,
Mm.
it's amazing how good science is hard to break through to the mainstream, into people. Like, and it's good science. And now people are all standing behind it, like, hey, there's something to this. I'm like, there was something to this 7 years ago.
But
Yeah.
a lot of the good information
Interesting.
gets censored, though. We know that. We know all that.
There besides the knowledge around this, I want to ask you guys your opinion on the change in society and how convenience has become a market
Mm,
and how that's impacted people. Like as far as
it's huge.
we got ride sharing, getting people to deliver things to your house, ordering to where you don't even have to leave your house to get the
DoorDash
food that you
Yes.
want. So I can deliver ship food straight to your front door,
Mhm.
and you may have to get off the couch to go pick it up if someone doesn't get it for you. Convenience is a very, I'm gonna guess, a very high dollar industry now, and that has also led to people being obese because, especially these kids growing up now, that's the normal for them.
Yep.
I remember I had a client once that was sending screenshots on his computer of what type of rice to get, and I'm like, dude, what do you? Oh, I'm ordering it so Walmart can deliver. Get your ass in your car and go over there and get that shit. I was like, you're wanting to join a gym and lose weight and get in shape, and you're too fucking lazy to go to Walmart.
Right,
Like, you think
yeah.
that
That's
matches?
funny.
Yeah, right?
Is that the right mindset to have?
Right.
Like,
Oh my
you
God.
want to come in the gym and work out and do cardio and do all this, but you can't go to the store.
Yeah.
That doesn't
Right.
add up.
No.
That's wild.
But that's these people growing up now. That's the normal. Is
And
just having
as
delivered.
society grows, we get more and more lazy, more and more complacent. Just think about like simple things like remote controls.
Yeah.
We used to have to get up and turn the TV, or how about before the TV? You had to entertain yourself like going outside doing something.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Radio.
Yeah.
It was
Ride
radio, I
bikes.
guess. I mean,
Do things.
Or it's just like our mobility, right? Like how many people
Yeah.
walked everywhere now? Like everyone's like
Mm.
transportation
Did you
is
see
just
the
like,
line at Kahala Mall, Starbucks, the outside Starbucks,
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
are that fucking lazy. They'll wait in line for like half an hour
well,
for their cup.
let
but
me
they
tell
can't
you-
walk
Oh,
to
sit
the
in the
window.
car.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
let me
they
tell
can't
you a
walk to
story
the
because
fucking
I
window.
used to build Starbucses, right? So we had the Starbucks account, and we built 42 of the locations back when like Jamba Juice, was under the same franchise. And we built the very first drive-through Starbucks, which was the Kaneohe one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even the engineers at Starbucks, when like they designed the layout of the workflow system inside, right? They it after 1 month of the store being open, they had to redesign the entire interior of the store because everyone was coming through the drive-through.
Yeah.
really?
So much so that it was like, I don't know if it was that old Chinese restaurant that's
Yeah.
over there across from Woodward Mall,
Okay.
you know,
Oh,
and like,
yeah.
and you have the PetSmart and then the
CVS or Walmart.
or Walgreens that are like, and it was literally like the line of car, and it's still to this day goes
Yeah.
through the Walgreens parking lot all the way around, and almost
Oh.
nobody walks up inside, right?
And
So
there's parking.
right, so you had the giant barista machines, you know, that were on the front counter to serve the people that walked up. Well, they had to change the whole countertops and everything, and put like 2 of the big barista machines on the drive-through side.
Wow.
You know, because there was so much activity coming through the drive-through, like it was just a giant mess inside. And that changed all the drive-through Starbucks in Hawaii to
Interesting.
where like they had to change, like they had the larger countertop for the walk-up people. Well, that became the smaller countertop and then the larger one because people, it's just lazy.
That lazy.
And they'll wait in that
They don't
freaking
wanna get out of
line
the car.
Yeah.
when they could just
30,
park,
40
get out. And,
minutes. Yeah.
yeah, it's you know, but
For convenience matters, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
That's, you know, one of my things when I was coaching, and you know, it was just big because I was doing a lot of bills at the airport and all that kind of stuff. But I would always say, wherever building that you're in, you know, if shopping mall or anything, don't ever take an escalator when there's a set of stairs next to it.
Yeah.
If your fitness journey is that, you don't ever take an escalator.
Park
Well,
away and
or
walk. to the
parking.
store.
Yeah, that's
well,
right.
What about the parking? Right, the people will drive around in circles.
Oh my
I can
God.
Just
understand if
because
you're
there's-
like a single female and
But
you're parking
because there's
around the
no
corner
parking in the
for
front.
security reasons. But yeah, guys,
Yeah,
come on.
But
Like,
Yeah.
well,
yeah.
during the daytime too.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's like people will drive around in circles.
Yeah.
And camp
Even though there's
out.
parking stalls back there, they'll just keep driving around waiting for the front ones to
Yeah.
open.
And they'll camp out and
Yeah.
block traffic waiting for
Yeah,
a parking
when there's
stall to open.
stalls
Oh,
in
yeah.
the back, like you see them, you know, and you're just like, dude, just park over there.
Well,
I-
even like
Yeah.
when we used to go to Vegas, you know, it'd be like, and I would always take the stairs as we were walking,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because there's all those escalators, you know, and then just
I
to
told
listen,
you to take the stairs.
Yeah,
next time.
and just to listen to the comments, right? As you're going up the stairs, everyone's like, I should be doing that, you know, and they're all like,
Oh, really?
they're all like pack rat and get lined up for the escalator, and I'm just like, "Doot, doot, 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 doot," you know, just going up the stairs, and everyone's like,
Yeah.
and now I get, you know, you should be doing that. Look at your fat gut, you know, like your wife's like hitting her husband. Almost every time you do that,
But nobody's gonna do
because
it.
there's nobody taking the stairs.
Right.
I'm like the only one,
Well, they're on vacation in Vegas, dude. Come on.
even on vacation. Like you
Come on,
should be.
bro. They're not.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
God
I
gave
know.
you
I'm saying.
legs for a reason.
On vacation,
Huh?
bro.
God gave you legs for a reason.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't to sit on your ass.
Oh, one of my old things too. I always bring this to. Just imagine like you had a time machine and you were to pop somebody out of the 1700s and you stick them in front of the window at Bally's and you see everybody on those fucking machines going like this.
Yeah.
You know, what would they think? They would like, they look like rats on a wheel.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're like, what are these people doing in the future? They're like on these like running things to nowhere. Like, what is that? And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, well, see, everything, like we don't move, we don't walk, we don't walk anywhere anymore. We barely like move.
everything's
So we have to
been
do that so we
degraded.
don't like blow up and get like gigantic
Yeah.
fat blobs.
We don't cut trees. We don't,
Yeah.
we don't dig, make our own
Yeah,
gardens.
and
we
it,
don't dig
you know,
dishes.
you take a person from the past, they go, "What the hell? I don't
I
want
can
to be
imagine.
any part of this future."
imagine.
If you guys got to do that,
And look at the way that they dressed back then in comparison to now. Like they
Oh my
might
God.
look at us and be like, they're fucking slobs.
I know, because they
That-
always dress with
they
like
dress
suits
with-
on
yes.
almost, right? It was like
Yes.
full
That was
vest
awesome.
and
That was
suits and-
awesome.
Yeah.
I like
But
that
you can
group of
imagine. I
suits.
always wonder though how hot it is, right? Because they had no AC.
Yep.
They would wear these full. I mean, that probably was like thick cotton.
Yep.
And you're just sweating all day.
but you know what? They got along
And
just
then-
fine.
They got
Yep.
along
I mean,
just
I
fine.
know
and
they had-
that's probably why they weren't fat because they're sweating all
They
day.
didn't even. Did they even have? They didn't even have showers.
And that's why,
They had
like
baths.
somebody,
Hardly.
They had
that's why
baths.
somebody who was obese was in the circus as a sideshow.
Yes,
like,
I told freak, right?
What the hell? Look at
That's
that
true.
person.
Yeah, because
you
it was
know?
very unique, right?
There was like it's like no one's ever seen anything like
Well,
that.
you know the Hawaiians.
Now
was-
you can't walk into a Walmart without seeing 100 of them.
There was
Yeah.
the thing
You
with
know?
the Hawaiians, right? That
Being
the
large.
royalty was like, you were big, you were actually
You
like
could afford to eat.
wealthy.
Of course,
Yeah.
yes, because
You
you
were
could afford
wealthy.
to eat.
Yeah.
That was during
Yeah,
the
and
Renaissance
was
era
right,
the rest-
too.
and everybody was skinny, right? But if you were big, that was like, oh, that person, that's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
very
Man,
wealthy.
of course that's
Right.
gonna be beautiful
Yeah.
because that fucker was eating.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what their thing was, right? Like, because they were eating, like you said, they had meals. They were eating whatever they wanted.
Oh,
You ain't-
yeah.
Other people were starving,
Yeah,
right?
right.
I mean, they may eat once a day, maybe they won't eat for a whole
Yeah.
day
Right.
or a couple days, right?
Yeah. All
I
the rich
mean,
elites were fat.
all the
Yeah.
rich elites were fat,
They
right?
still are.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they still are, I know.
Yeah.
Well, now the rich elite, I don't even think they work out now, right? It's like, okay, let's get in the freaking gym and do a little workout. So
So back to Jed's question. Jed, did you forget your
What is it?
question?
No, I was asking
Oh,
about
Yeah,
the
the question.
convenience and stuff. About the
yeah. And then
so-
individually. So
No,
go
it
ahead.
makes I think it's a huge like difference on our society for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's something like we like have to take personal responsibility for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
But
like,
do you like having the convenience though? That it's available?
But we know what it's like to not have it too. So
Yeah,
I know what
right.
it's like to have to go outside and talk to a person.
Yeah.
These people don't. They stay inside and they play video games.
See, that's massive what
And-
you just said right there.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why our society is really kind of falling apart. You know, like
Yeah.
that, because nobody communicates anymore. Like they do online where you're like a keyboard warrior and people talk the way people talk to each other on X and you know and all
Online
that.
is
They don't
different.
they wouldn't do that in
No,
front of your
not a
face.
real
You get your
person,
ass
no.
beat.
You get your ass beat.
Yeah, they don't do that in
Exactly.
person. Yeah.
You
they
know?
don't. The comments.
But
in
they're so
Instagram
brazen
and-
too, because if not your ass beat, then a lawsuit that would follow behind.
whatever,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
People
See, I
in
don't like that
general don't
either.
talk like that.
Yeah.
in
Because
person.
sometimes people you can try every which way in the world to try to help them or teach them. Sometimes they just need their fucking ass beat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that shit hurts and you don't want that to keep happening.
No,
so whatever
yeah.
got your ass beat, you're more likely to not do it again.
That's what yeah.
You know?
Right.
It's interesting, yeah. People hide
We all
that
grew up in the
keyboard.
era where our parents whooped our asses. You
Yeah.
know?
Oh
It's
God,
like-
I can't.
now it's like that almost doesn't happen at all.
I can remember. I can remember almost every time I actually got so bad to catch a coat hanger,
Mm.
and I never did that shit again. Whatever. It
Oh
was.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think too, like I was saying earlier with the excuses, right? Like I think, especially me growing up, I mean, it was like nobody really didn't have excuse. Like you could have an excuse, but they didn't really care. It was just like you just got to the point where you just don't make things up because you're just like, well,
Yeah.
it is what it is. Like nobody's gonna, like my coach is not gonna care what excuse I have.
Right.
He's just gonna be like, where were you? Let's go. Like, you know, so it's like, okay, so you just don't even bother making excuses. You either showed up or you didn't, and that was it. And you paid the price if you didn't show up. Nowadays, it's just like, I think people will be rather like, okay, I'd rather ask for forgiveness, right? Than to actually do the right thing, you know?
Mm.
They'd rather just come up with the excuse. I see it a lot. It's just like you right away, they already have this excuse set up. And it's crazy how good people are at
And
lying
they're
nowadays.
justified with their excuses.
Oh no,
why they
it's
are
fully
in the
justified.
condition
Justified.
that they're in.
Oh, it's justified. They can go and tell you exactly, yeah, why this happened to them and why they're in this position and exactly the reasons why, instead of just saying, hey, you know what? I fucking did it. It was me.
Mhm.
I fucked it up and I'm in this position. No, well, what happened? You know, I lost my job and I was dating this girl and then she broke up with me. And then I decided to start doing this and then this. And then it's like, no, dude, but guess what? It's all you. You're the one that did it to yourself.
Mhm.
Nobody else did it. You know, so yeah, that's the biggest thing for me is just take accountability and stop lying to people that care about you. I think that's another thing.
Yeah.
Well, we got to
They
stop
lie.
entitling victims too, right?
Yeah,
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Victim
Well,
mentality is real popular.
Right.
Right.
Because isn't this the thing? Isn't this how life is? Isn't there two types of people? There's givers and there's takers.
Yeah, right.
And I'm pretty sure everybody who's a giver has a taker in their life.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And takers, unfortunately, look for givers. They search for givers.
Right.
So they're surrounded by givers.
Yeah.
That's how they survive. You know, so
But we shouldn't encourage taking.
no, we don't. But unfortunately,
Yeah.
if you're a giver, that's in your nature, right? And you're always giving chances, right?
Mhm.
Like maybe this time or miss, and you get a little upset, and then you set a boundary, and then for a little bit, and then guess what? That taker always finds a way to work their way around it and start doing it again,
Mhm.
right?
You know the leaps I made. I'm talking about myself. Let's say like how There was a point in my life a few years back where I had to realize that a lot of things that happened were because of me. I was real bad for trying to point out all the other variables.
Mm.
Oh, well, this person this and this person that. And I remember I was talking to one of my friends and I was talking about a situation with them, and they were like, dude, you ever always realize that it's never your fault? Every time you talk about shit that's going on,
Right.
why you had this issue, why this person doesn't like you, why I had this, like, you never say it's your fault.
Mm.
Don't you think that's a problem? Maybe you should go back and relook at those instances and see
It
what
takes
you
a lot
did.
of humility
A lot of
to
people
Yeah,
will
recognize that.
can't
not.
get
You
rid of
know?
your ego.
A
Yeah.
lot of people will not take responsibility for the part that they played in that scenario as well too. They don't know how to. A lot has to do with ego, you know,
Mm.
taking responsibility for the part that you played. Why are you in the situation that you are? Oh, because it's somebody else. Because my parents, you're a fucking grown ass adult.
There, yeah, that
Mhm.
one, yeah, that
Yeah.
one.
And you know, if you can learn to do that and take accountability and admit where you fucked up, after a while it starts feeling pretty good because you start realizing what you're doing wrong and you're able to work on it. And when you initially do it, it does feel shitty because you're identifying flaws within yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you can't identify your flaws, you can't fix them.
Right.
So in the end, it turns out to be better
Oh, it's so
if you
better.
take action.
Yep.
You know, it's a real big step in growing up is when somebody can start admitting when they're wrong or like you said, to talk about the part they had in fucking things up.
Well, isn't that like AA? Don't they do? That's like one of the big things that they do is you go in front of everybody and you say, I'm an alcoholic, like I'm a drug addict, right? That's taking accountability, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're literally going in front of everybody and admitting this, right?
Yeah.
And that's like I think the hardest thing for a lot of people to just come out and admit, yeah, this is what I do. This is what I am.
But Jed touched on
And
something that's even more important than that. You have to take action.
Yeah.
Well, that's the
You know,
next step.
like, yeah, action,
Right,
action is because I used to be that guy that would all pull up in all those self-help books. You know, just like, and that, you know, you read so many of those things and you're just like, they're all saying the same thing. Like how to be successful, how to
Mm.
like, you know, this and that. I'm like, okay, they're all saying the exact same thing. And really, you just got to take action. Like, you know, it's just,
Yeah. I mean, well, that's what life's about anyway, right? If you want results, is you
Yeah.
have to take action.
you have
Well,
to take action.
in defense of some people out there that do have mental health, depression is real, mental health
Yes, it
is
is.
real, and we talked about this before. Reach out to somebody. There's lots of great telephone numbers, online groups that you can associate yourself with. You can maintain to say anonymous. Depression looks different to everybody, and we're all going through shit in life. So don't think that your problem is worse than anyone else's. Um, we here like that's why we attach ourselves in with this fitness community and we associate with it, and we feel like this is our hour that we could possibly escape from whatever's going on outside. So do something healthy for 1 hour. I'm pretty sure it's going to make you feel a lot better, even if it's just for that moment.
Yeah, because I actually have a lot of compassion for people who are dealing with depression. Because I mean, I've had a lot of bouts of depression throughout my life, gone through things, just like everybody does, right? And and I don't want to sound like a dick, like I don't care, like, oh, just excuses. But the reality is, like we were just saying, is yes, it's a real thing. But if you never take action, like
Yeah.
you were saying, you need to. There's a point where you have to go, okay, well, yeah, I'm depressed, I'm sad,
I need to
whatever.
talk to
But you need to
somebody.
do something, some action to get out of that, whatever that may be, to get you going, right? And that's the thing. And I think that's where I get frustrated sometimes because I'm like, I know. See, I come from a place where I understand it because I've been there and I've had bouts and I've had my times of long periods of being in depression and just being kind of stuck. But I got myself out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I found a way to get out of it. And I know that I feel like everybody can do it. I mean, sure, there's probably some people who have really major mental health issues and they probably need, a doctor, a psychologist to help them, somebody to really help them through it, maybe get on some meds, right? Like, fine. But I feel like if you're not taking action, like we said, if you're not trying to change it, then it's just, you're
Well, I think
never going to get anywhere.
I'm going to fuck this up, but whatever the national, it's like the National Center for Psychiatric Care or something like that. Whatever the federal
Yeah.
psychiatric care like
Hotline and stuff.
bureaucracy
Yeah.
group is. I think their first line of defense now is exercise before SSRIs and all those
There
other
you go.
things.
Right.
Like that's something new. Like they finally kind of like approve that.
Dude, that was what every time I got super depressed, you know what I would do? the first thing I started doing push-ups. I was like,
Yeah.
let me get up in the
Yeah.
morning. I'll do push-ups instead of like I didn't need a gym. I was just let me start doing some
Because
like
that
sit-ups,
endorphin
push-ups.
rush afterwards is
Yeah, and
real.
I
Like
started
it
feeling
changes
good.
your mind.
And then I go to a gym after
Yeah,
that. Like, you know
yeah.
what? I'm gonna go work out at the gym.
It's super
Let
hard.
me get out.
It's super hard to take that leap. Like, because when you're depressed, like it's
Yeah.
hard to be physically active.
But it felt right.
But my
you
God,
know?
it
Felt like I was doing the right
exactly
thing.
right.
Or even
Like,
if,
yeah.
I mean, as shallow as it may sound, for those of you guys who are exercising and was like, oh fuck, this don't work. You know what? Go get yourself a 6-pack abs or look hot in a bikini and let me know how depressed you are looking like that
Yeah,
type of way. Like
it's all gonna
seriously,
change.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
sure you'll feel a lot less depressed looking hot as
Yeah.
fuck.
People will be like, wow, you look great.
Yeah.
You'll get compliments, all these things, which will help like boost your ego, make
You
you feel a
love
little
the way you
better.
look, you know?
Yeah. And then you'll actually start feeling better. Maybe you'll start dressing a little
Mhm.
better. Like, instead of like down on yourself and wearing those
Covering
old
up.
clothes and
Yeah.
covering up and baggy shirts, maybe start wearing something that fits a little better. You'll look a little better. You start feeling better about yourself overall, right? And then you'll get into
People
the
start
groove.
complimenting you.
Yeah. Instead of you complaining that you haven't been to the gym in 3 weeks because your foot hurts and you just can't get up the stairs,
Yeah.
like, come on, man. You can get up the stairs, bro.
And when people say when people say they have to set 6 alarms or all these snooze
Oh,
alarms
that
No.
one.
to get up,
I don't get
it
that one.
pisses me off. It's like you're like the same thing with eating food and spitting out. You're fucking cock teasing yourself when you're better off.
The
to
cock
just-
tease, I love
It's
it.
better off to just not know, just to forget what it tastes
Yeah,
like.
right.
Yeah.
So this getting up in the morning, people will set all these snooze alarms. Like, you're not even going back to bed long enough to make a difference. Like,
Right.
if you might as well get up and
You're
it's,
just
well,
torturing
well, I
yourself.
can't.
But isn't that
And you feel
isn't
worse.
that partly because they're depressed and they're
Yeah.
just not happy with their life, so they'd rather just sleep?
Yeah, and I tell them, they go, well, I can't get out of bed. I said, can you turn to the side and put your feet on the ground and stand up? Yes, then you can get the fuck out of bed.
Yeah.
When you're trying to sleep and you have 2 or 3 guys coming and throwing shit at you and turning beds over and stuff,
Oh
you'll
yeah.
fucking get up
yeah.
real
Oh
quick.
yeah.
Fun
Yeah. Right.
times.
Yeah.
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 So
Like
that's
even if you're feeling depressed or some not feeling well for yourself, you need to also celebrate the little wins. Even if it's that one thing. Fuck yeah, I rolled out of bed on the first alarm. I didn't snooze it 4 or 5 times. I
Yeah.
actually got out. Celebrate that win. Celebrate like, heck yeah, now I fixed my bed. Right on. Right on. I actually got like fresh teeth because I brushed them. Celebrate celebrate the little wins.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it'll change your perspective and change your mindset for the rest of the day.
That's really good. That's the whole living in the moment thing. Like if
Yeah.
you can't get up to brush your teeth, but you don't need to be thinking about what you're going to be doing an hour from now or what you're going to be doing at work. You need to think about getting that done.
Yeah.
1
And
minute at a time.
One thing at a time.
One thing, 1 minute, 1 second, and then you can start to expand that to from a second to the minute, minute to the hours, hours to days, and next thing you know, you're doing a lot better
Yeah.
for
Accomplishing a
yourself.
to-do list feels good.
Yeah.
Contest prep, I usually tell my guys when they start asking a lot of questions. This is Chris Aceto line I heard a long time ago was, you worry about today, I'll worry about tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You start worrying about tomorrow, you're going to fuck today up.
That's awesome.
Mm.
So
That's
just
so
let me
true.
do that. Yeah.
Especially in contest prep, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You take that shit. It's like boot camp. Remember in boot camp, like the last few weeks, you're going one meal at a time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just try and get through. You don't want to think about 6 weeks down, about week 4, week
Yeah.
5.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
what are we going to do? Because I'm in for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. How are we going to spend next? I was in all 3 holidays.
Wow.
And yeah, it was shit.
I went summertime.
I
It was
didn't
good.
want to go home for the holidays. I'm like, I ain't coming back if I go home.
We didn't go home. And I was in Great Lakes too, so that cold ass wind coming
Dude,
off the
yeah.
lake.
I was
brutal.
summertime,
yeah.
man. I was good.
So I remember my dad told me, he's like, you take it by breakfast. Okay, lunch is in 4 hours, so we just gotta get through this. And
Yeah.
okay, well, I'm in class now, so let me do the CBT course, and then 2 more classes will be in lunch. And when you start doing that, it starts coming by real quick.
Mm.
And boot camp, you have to do that. It's not that it's hard, but it gets longer.
It's
to
the
start
monotony
thinking.
of
It's
it,
well,
yeah.
as far as everything,
It
like,
is when
I
you're
will-
young because I went to military school. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah.
I will default back to again, perspective is everything. I had the attitude in boot camp, like, fuck, I'm getting paid for these guys to yell at me. I'm getting paid for these guys to tell me to fix my bed. I'm getting paid to line up and march and do all of this stupid ass crap. So that was my mentality. It might
Mm.
not have been the best, but then it was still a better perspective instead of being like, oh, I don't know why I'm here for. This is so stupid.
Dude, when I was in aircrew school,
Mhm.
all aircrew school is. Did you have to go through aircrew school?
Well, no, it was like on the job training for
Okay,
that
so
our crew.
you get up, you go eat at like 4:30 in the morning, 5, come back, you go work out, then you eat lunch, then you come back and you're putting on clothes, you're swimming, doing swim workouts. Like you don't stop.
Mm,
And people were tired and bitching. I remember our instructor told us, like, you guys are getting paid to fucking work out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
quit your bitching.
Right.
You're pro athletes. That's pretty
Yeah.
much what you're doing right now.
yeah.
And we're like, yeah, fuck, we could be going through all these dumb nerd classes like some of these other rates in the Navy. We're just swimming and working out and trying
Right.
to beat physical fitness standards, and we're getting paid
That's
for
fun
it.
to me. It's
It was
Yeah,
a
that was
lot better
fun.
once you looked at it like that.
Yeah.
It was a lot better.
That's
Or
what.
even like contest prep, perspective is everything. Like,
Yeah.
and I'll go back to say, first of all, this is your choice, but the attitude that you're going into this prep has a lot to do with the outcome of the prep and the experience you get through the,
yeah.
prep.
But you get so on a regiment of a very methodical plan that it's very common to get depressed post competition.
Yeah.
Because now, like, you almost feel like you don't have a purpose. Your life doesn't have purpose. Because when you're prepping for a competition, everything you put in your mouth has purpose, right? It's for that day of the show. Every
Yeah.
movement
like
that you
how
make,
Jed was saying earlier, if you want to be a pro, you have to think like a pro. There's
Yeah.
no off season.
right?
So
That's
you don't
true.
go into
Yeah.
this, oh, contest is done. I can eat like a fucking fat shit.
Yeah,
No, you're still on season. It's a gain season. It's, so you're still doing things with a lot of intent.
yep,
Yeah, well, and then we go back to the regular person, right? That's just trying to lose that 50 pounds, right? It's a similar thing, right? Like
Lifestyle.
they're not trying to be pro or anything, but they just want to lose 50 pounds.
Mhm.
But the problem, if they go one day, then they miss a week, then they go 3 days, and then they miss 2 weeks, and there's this inconsistency,
Well,
right?
that's why it
They
helps.
have to be consistent too.
But I think it helps with those people to make them accountable,
Yeah.
right? So, like, often when somebody was thinking about competing and everything, but they're just not ready yet,
Mhm.
we'll go on a diet and I'll say, hey, you're going to do a photo shoot,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
need to pay for that now, right? And your photo shoot's in 8 weeks. Like,
It forces them now. They're
yeah,
putting money out.
yeah.
Like,
Now
oh,
you better look like amazing for
right,
the shoot, right? You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it's just like,
yeah.
because you think about that stuff, like when you screw up one day or something, or like you binge or something, and
Mhm.
you're like, damn, I got that competition coming, I got that photo shoot, like.
Yeah.
And I used to think about that every time I wanted to skip something or come off of my hit training thing that I was doing in the morning. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to cut this 5 minutes short because I'm like 5 minutes late to my own work, and I own my own company.
Mhm.
And I'd be like, hey, I'm just accepting second place now.
Yeah.
Like if I stick with it, then I'm guaranteed the first. That's how I used to think of it in my mind.
And it's a different mindset. I mean, being a
know?
competitor is a different
And you can
mindset
do the
from a
same
regular
thing, but
person, right?
but
Who's
that's what I
just
mean. Like,
trying to attain a goal, right?
Right.
See, but that's the thing. Like, as far as a regular normie person, it's not about a specific goal or
Right.
destination. Like how competition prep people,
Right.
we have that destination and then the next destination and
Their
the next.
destination is life.
Their destination should be life. If you obviously need something to incentivize you, think about the people that love you and the ones that are around you, whether it be your mom, your dad. You have to be healthy for them as they age so you can take care of them, grandparents, your own kids, grandkids. I mean, everything could be an incentive if you love yourself in life. I said love your life and yourself, I
Yeah.
should
Well,
say,
we talked
even
about loving
more.
yourself earlier, right?
Yeah.
Or you, like I said,
Yeah.
hating yourself.
Then it gives you a will to live. It gives you a reason for you to do better for yourself,
Mm.
So I had this other conversation with another individual. I mean, my attention to exercise and fitness goals has changed. Like when we had Ernest in here, he said he's doing it for life. He wants to see his
For his
great
kids, right?
grandkids.
Right.
And
Longevity,
he's an
right.
older father, and he's doing it for longevity purposes as well too. My reason might be a little bit more different than other people, but we don't know. We're living in uncertain times right now as well too. So as far as preparation and uh, yeah, I do it because I want to make sure I can take care of my family in the event that something happens.
Okay.
But you know what's crazy? It's like
Mm.
it's almost the opposite of bodybuilding because longevity, like you want a calorie restriction.
Mhm.
Like, IGF-1 is an enemy.
Yeah.
You want to suppress it. And it's just like intermittent fasting, it's like these are all important like tools for longevity. Whereas like the guy, us like trying to eat like hypercaloric diets to put on muscle and all that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, that's not best for longevity. And it's also like Ernie, right? He was a big boy.
Yeah.
He
Like,
was.
it's just like being in your 50s and being that big, whether it's muscle or fat, your heart doesn't know the difference.
Mhm.
Right.
Like it's just like
Yeah,
it's,
he lost like about 100 pounds, I think. I mean, at one point he was like 290.
and you would
so-
never say he was fat. He was never
Nah, he
fat.
was
Like he
just
was just big.
power lifter looking
Yeah,
dude,
exactly.
strong man looking, whatever.
But it's not
Yeah,
for
he came
longevity. It's
down.
like
He's
I mean, how
190.
many like big guys do you see that are old? Like old, like
Right,
80,
like
70.
really big
None.
like that? No, you
None.
don't. You
They're all
don't.
downsized.
Yeah.
You don't. I mean, really, how many people do you see that are,
Or even obese.
350 pounds,
Yeah.
like overweight?
How
and
many
they're, like, in their
80-year-olds do you see are
60s or
obese?
70s? I mean,
Very
Never.
none.
you don't. Yeah, they don't make it past 60s, maybe.
Usually not past 60.
I think 60. Yeah,
Yeah.
right there. Yeah. If you're at well over 300 pounds, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't imagine what their joints are feeling like.
And look at our age. We're right
Yeah.
there. Like, I mean, we're 5 years from 60.
Yeah.
It's like that could, it's just
But
like
we're not-
life is not as long as you think it is. It's like it's quite
yeah,
short.
it-
And the older you get, the faster it goes.
My
by.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
That is insane. It's so fast.
Yeah.
Can't believe it's Christmas already again. It's just like it just goes so fast. And I'll tell you, like between 50, like you really have to like be doing it right too, because between 50 and just over 50 is like dog years. Like every year it's like your body ages 7 years.
Yeah.
It's like it's that dramatic of a change.
Mm.
At least it feels like it.
Yeah, I kind of agree at a certain point. Like somebody at 50 and somebody at like 55, say, you would think, oh, it's only 5 years, but a lot of things happen in those 5 years.
Wow.
From
Yeah,
50
your
to
body
55,
really
right?
makes a
A
dramatic
lot of
change.
things can happen. And so,
Yeah.
so definitely even from 55 to 60, you're like, whoa, things can happen in 5 years. So yeah, for sure.
But like
Should
ever
age.
since I turned 20, or even before 20, I was like deeply doing martial arts and competing all around the country and all kinds of stuff. And like I go to a new doctor and they're like, "What medications are you on?" And I'm like, "I've never been on a
Nothing. Yeah.
medication,
Me too.
a lifestyle medication at all." And they're like, "Are you
Yeah.
what?
And
You're not on anything?" And I'm like, "No,
it's so weird to them.
no, never, nope, never."
It's crazy.
They think they're just like, "You're the first. You're the
But
first."
I thought that was normal. Like you shouldn't be on medications in your
Right?
50s,
I thought so too.
even your 60s. I don't know. Like I plan on not being on meds for pretty much the rest of my life. I'm hoping. I think so. I mean, I do vitamins. I do my stuff. But
like the convenience of things like how Jed was talking about. I mean, they got a medication to cure everything and give you
Right,
something else,
right,
and then to
that's it.
cure
We're
that as well.
Right.
too.
way over medicated.
Way over medicated.
And here's one example. Like my mom had just passed a year ago. But she was in hospice. When she went into hospice, like they literally take you off all your medication
Mm,
because what's the point,
okay.
Yeah.
right? If you're on like heart medication or blood thinners and all that kind of stuff. And my mom was suffering from a pretty advanced like dementia.
Oh,
So a year prior to her going into hospice, it was hit or miss. Like when I called her, whether she even knew it was me,
oh, gee.
or I'd have to remind her that she had a son.
Mhm.
Like, "Mom, I'm your son."
Yeah.
Who? Where are you? I'm in Hawaii. What the hell are you doing in Hawaii? What? Wait, Hawaii? I don't know anybody in Hawaii. It's just like, and then sometimes it was just bad. And it's sad. It's sad. She also got to the point where I'd go out and visit that, like her little esophagus valve like wasn't operating when she would drink or eat. It would go down into her lungs.
Oh.
Like how that autonomically like
Yeah,
controls the
yeah.
flow,
Mhm.
but for hers it wasn't. And so she couldn't even drink liquid anymore. They had to she had to take liquid from a spoon and they would gel the liquid, like gel.
That's-
Yeah, they would turn water into a gelatin
Wow.
because liquids would always go down into her lungs, right?
That's heavy.
Yeah. So it was like, and this went on for months and months. Like it got worse and worse and worse. She gets in the hospital. They took all of her medication. She's eating pizza.
Yeah. Start
She's
doing
drinking
fine.
water, no problem. And her dementia, gone,
What?
gone. She's talking about memories and stuff when we were little. We're like, what the fuck? It was just like the medication was just fucking melting her mind.
There you go.
I'm not even kidding. Like, like hospice, like when you usually go on hospice, it's a matter of months. She was almost a year in hospice. And like all her like ailments were just going away.
Wow.
I'm
Well,
like-
there you go.
Okay, how much of the was her, how much of was the medicine like killing her?
Yeah, right.
Like,
Right.
it definitely was ruining her life.
Yeah.
Like her quality of life for sure.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not saying all medicines are bad. Obviously, that's
No.
not true. But she was obviously over medicated. And she had, I remember this like Lazy Susan that she had on thing. And it was just loaded with all these freaking pill bottles.
Oh,
And I'm
jeez.
like, how do you even like understand which ones to take out of all that stuff?
So much.
I would
man.
sit there and read the labels and I'm like, what the fuck?
What
you
is
know,
all this shit?
Looking at all this shit. And my sister, she was an executive with Merck Pharmaceuticals. She's now with Pfizer at the time. And
Oh,
they're
okay.
all brainwashed. So like every medicine is
Yeah.
good for you.
I see.
Even though the vaccine like messed her up pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and she took her companies and she's like, oh my God. Yeah, like it messed her up real
So
good.
we're bad for stereotyping as a species. We stereotype pretty easy.
Yeah,
So if a few good medicines come out, we're going to assume they're all good.
right.
And that's how they get them in there.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And they may all be good individually, but like, you take one medicine and then you give another medicine for the side effects of that medicine, and it just sort of starts compounding.
Yeah.
like Adderall and diazepam.
Yeah, right.
Some people take Adderall and they take too much and they lose their shit. So they got to take diazepam to calm down.
Yeah, exactly.
like-
They take a stimulant and then a suppressant, right?
which, I'll admit if I've taken stuff to calm me down after things that get wired, it's a pretty good medium for me. But like taking one to counteract the other, eventually, how much stuff are you taking?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
When you just be a little more disciplined and come off of it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Wow.
And our doctors really need an education in nutrition. That's
Yeah.
like, to me, that's just like criminal. Like you never hear, oh, well, you should change your eating habits to this and that from our
So,
doctors.
I have family of heart problems, right?
Mhm.
The worst advice, and I'm not saying I'm not a doctor, but the worst advice that I've heard one of the doctors tell of family members of mine because they had heart problems was to lower your salt.
Oh my God.
You know how much your body needs freaking salt and electrolytes?
Yeah.
And they just went through this loop and they couldn't understand why their blood pressure was so low. Here, take this medicine, take this and this, that, and the third.
Oh my
And the
God.
stack started to stack up more. And I'm like, told this individual in my family, I'm like, maybe we'll just start with an electrolyte drink like that. Boom. Cut her medicines in half. I'm like,
As simple as that. Man.
I've heard other bodybuilding coaches demonize salt. Like
yeah.
you don't ever want to take salt. And like, you're sweating all day in the gym and stuff. Like, what are you talking
Your
about?
body naturally regulates
need
it.
it.
Like you're dead without salt.
Salt,
Like you're
magnesium,
dead without
all the
sodium.
potassium, all that stuff.
Like
You
it's,
need it.
yeah.
Yeah, your body regulates it.
Yeah, it does. Right.
That's what aldosterone does.
You're right. Exactly. Yeah. And it's
Wild.
just like, it's just, there's a lot of poor advice out there.
So from our own personal perspective and from like the advice that you get, we all do need to do a lot better with taking more responsibility with ourselves, bodily autonomy and health. So that
And
was
even
a great one.
getting an education on
Mhm.
what is healthy,
Yeah.
That's why you hire us.
Just because they're a
Yeah.
doctor, that doesn't mean they know.
Because we did the years of research to
know?
understand it all. Yeah.
Yep, that's true. I mean,
Because there's a lot, there's a lot of, I hate using these words because they're all a lot of misinformation
Yes.
about
I know.
what is healthy and what is not. Right? It's
And
like,
there are doctors that will live and die by the sword of their notepad. Just here, take this.
yeah.
Even with that, from gear to medicine, you guys should be doing your own research on what you're taking.
Yeah. Remember when that was demonized?
Yeah.
Don't do your own research. Just follow the experts.
Yeah.
We're killing more of there's more good bacteria on our bodies than there is bad
Yeah.
bacteria. And you're throwing a grenade like in a school where there's two terrorists and everyone else is a hostage and you're just blowing the whole thing up.
Yeah.
That's what it is with hand sanitizer. It's like, all right, you got a couple little like things of whatever the bad bacteria is, staph or chlamydia or whatever you want, and then you're hand sanitizing and you're killing all the good shit that would automatically kill that bad one.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah. And
Just-
that's a
It feels
problem
good
with,
sometimes though. It's nice and cold.
yeah, yeah.
It's not like we're using it sometimes. I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
so whatever.
Every once in a while, but
I'm not every day kind of guy, but
Yeah.
every once in a while you go, oh, and put some on there. That's fine,
Well, there were stores like you couldn't walk in without like they mandatory like Slim's power
Spray,
tools,
yeah.
right? You had to mandatory like
That's your thing, yeah.
hand sanitize. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, it's pretty evident that the virus is airborne.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
droplets. Like this is bullshit.
Yeah.
This isn't
I
doing
mean,
anything.
same goes for wearing masks.
Oh my
It's
God, I
just-
know.
It's the same.
let's not go with the mask.
But
I can't with people with the mask. I
well,
just can't.
they don't understand that how it
I can't.
actually works. It's for as small as the pores are.
The microns,
the
yeah.
microns. It's the same concept saying you're trying to keep out mosquitoes with a chain link fence.
Right.
Like realistically,
Well, I
that's
always
what it
said,
is.
people that still wear masks are the same people that don't know how to drive. So it's true.
Well,
They're the bad drivers.
Well, you remember in the beginning that information came out like masks are useless in an airborne virus, and it's like,
Yeah.
whoa, wait, we can't say that. Oh, you can only use the N95s, right?
But then we're
Right.
too
And then they're
nice.
like, oh, wait, there's not enough for our healthcare workers. No. All the other ones really worked well.
Yeah,
In
yeah,
fact,
yeah.
don't even buy the N95s.
Your
That's not
t-shirt
for
will
you.
work. Use your t-shirt. That'll work.
Yeah. Just use
I
the
know, the whole
bandana.
cloth
Just
thing,
make your
yeah.
t-shirt.
And
Yeah.
what about saving the turtles and the straws and then all the masks that end up in the ocean and shit
Yeah.
and landfills?
Well, how crazy is this? Like
Ridiculous.
now it's common
People are so
knowledge.
asleep.
It's so bad.
Now it's
Yeah.
common knowledge that the masks don't do shit against an airborne.
Yeah, people wear it
And
all the
then
time.
yet California is still implementing mask mandates. They're not saying N95 mandates. It's like it's just a giant
There's people
compliance.
that wear them all
I
it's a giant
honestly
control.
think these elite people that make these laws, they're like, wait, they're laughing at a table. They're on a round table.
Oh no, we know that for
Listen,
sure
listen,
because
make them wear masks.
we kept finding them like having their own parties and stuff
Yeah,
like that. And none of them
exactly.
wear masks.
Yeah,
They were all just
Watch
laughing.
these fuckers squirm while we party. Fuck them.
Well, you
Was it-
remember, like it came out too. The whole social distancing thing
Mhm.
was it just a joke
Yeah.
between a couple of them?
And
We're like,
people
hey,
will
6
listen.
feet sounds good. You think so? Yeah, cool. Let's just put it out there.
And then
That had no scientific backing at all.
our awesome mayor was caught like out drunk
Yes.
driving when everybody was
on his birthday.
Yeah, 'cause when everybody was told to stay home, he was at a restaurant and they
Mhm.
caught him driving off drunk.
Oh, our mayor here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
They videoed
Blangiardi?
him walking out of
He
the
was
restaurant
slurring and
all
stuff
like
in the
freaking-
camera, and then he
yeah.
got in his car and drove off like that.
Blangiardi?
Yeah,
And never
Blangiardi.
did shit to him.
Oh
People
my God.
posted it up on it.
Laws for thee, not for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he was the I'm here for you guy.
Mm.
I'm a neutral libertarian.
Yeah, right.
The people matter, and yeah, right. We
Yeah.
saw how that went.
Yeah.
right.
Well,
Jesus
hopefully
Christ.
now with this new administration, a lot of our health values will change, like how you and I talked about before. And Jed, you wore your nice shirt the other day.
Yeah, make,
Make
America,
America
healthy,
healthy.
again. I
Yeah,
love that shirt.
yeah, that's awesome. And hopefully we can
Yeah.
go away from this whole obesity epidemic that's happening here in the United States with everything that's in our foods. So we as trainers and coaches have an easier job in contest prepping you people.
Well, if you're gonna, you want to. People may ask why they're putting all this in our food, and yeah, there's money involved, but a lot of it too. If you're going to try to take down the greatest country in the world, you're not going to do it with conventional
Exactly.
front on.
You're not
front
going to do it
warfare.
with a skirmish on.
You're
with a
not going to.
military.
You invade them. You're not going to make it to the Appalachian Mountains before Jim Bob buries you somewhere where nobody will find you.
No,
yeah,
they
yeah.
don't want
So
alphas.
You have to
They
do
all-
it
yeah.
through mental programming and
Mhm.
putting things in the food and waiting 10, 15, 20 years for it to take
Oh,
effect and
that's
weakening
like
society.
the America's freaking MO on how we take over all the other countries.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we implement a coup at the end of it after
Yeah.
we get the people all pissed off and divided.
Yeah. They just
That's
weaken
how we
us with
conquered
the
about 90 freaking countries around the world.
testosterone, how much percentages have been down over the past 10, 20 years
Right.
and all the stuff they're
Exactly.
putting in. I have 20-year-olds with low testosterone now
Oh,
that I
yeah.
have to try to get their doctor to fix it for them.
Mm.
Right.
That's crazy. It's just, if you're going to take down America, that's how you have to do it. You have to do it by putting
Oh, yeah.
stuff in the
And
food.
you have to
that over long
demonize
term-
masculinity.
Yeah, and do all
Yeah.
that.
You know,
It's-
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's crazy.
What do they say? Like in the military recruitment now, like there's a majority can't even meet the standards now or something like that. Like,
Oh, the physical standards?
yeah,
Really?
it's like, so, you know, if 100 people come out, 60% of them can't make it.
Yeah.
Can't get past the
Yeah.
basic testing? Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty bad. Because it's not that hard.
You know,
not
or
hard.
even
It's pretty
51%,
simple.
right? It's the majority, like, can't
Yeah,
make it.
that's pretty sad
That is so sad.
because it's not hard. I mean, the basic just to
And now
get
they're
in.
still talking about putting women into combat now because we just don't. There's
We don't
too
have the
many.
numbers.
There's too many obese men.
But
you know?
see, at the same time, now they know what women are. The fuck?
Huh?
Now they know what women are.
Oh yeah, I know, right?
That's another problem. Like accepting all of this stuff, being a little bit too passive, and all of this DEI hire, and we're in certainly in different times. And I did pull up that quote. I wasn't trying to be rude on the phone, but let me read it. Hard times create strong men. Strong
yeah.
men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times.
Yep.
And we're in that constant loop
We're
right
in that
now.
weak men right now, creating the hard times, and those hard times will, like, hopefully our kids will
Yeah.
be strong from that, yeah, and create better times. It's that loop has been constant throughout humanity. Yeah, 100%.
So if they clean up the food, hopefully we'll pop out more
And fix our
You know
medicine.
what's crazy? Just
masculine
to
men.
go on a different topic, but we'll talk and we'll be done soon. But what's kind of crazy to me, and I know, I mean, the porn industry has been always around and all that, but what's wild is this OnlyFans thing. And what I'm like, there was the one girl, she like retired.
Yeah.
I think she was 20 something,
Mhm.
and she just retired, and she's worth like $60 million.
Yeah. She
Wow.
makes
And I'm thinking,
$4.1 million a month or
I'm
something
thinking,
like that.
okay, in my head, I'm thinking, all right, that's just one girl, right? It's not all the porn
Oh,
channels and
mind you,
everybody
she's
else.
in her 20s and she's a Christian.
And she's, yeah, okay, there you go. What blows my mind
Wait,
is,
you know who this is?
They
no, yeah,
blasted it
well,
on
they
X.
they well
They
they
blasted it
posted
on
it up.
X.
They were
Yeah.
blasting it all over.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna say her name, but what's crazy is the fact that
Who's paying for that?
Yes.
That's so much
exactly.
porn.
it's
Exactly.
men that are paying for it. And I'm thinking to myself, how many of those guys are in relationships or married, and how many of them are single? I'd love to see those numbers, but it's really sad to me that there's probably a shit ton of them that are single that are out there and they don't have a girlfriend. They don't even have a date. They're sitting there just watching some chick on OnlyFans. And then even more sadder that the ones they're married and they're in this miserable marriage or whatever, and they're unhappy and they're paying for it. And I'm thinking, that's just crazy to me. The amount of people, the amount of guys that are paying for it, that just goes to show you how bad it is out there that these guys are just willing to pay. I mean, it's a lot of money. These guys ain't spending no $20 for a
Well, that's
monthly
what I mean, but
subscription.
there's so much free porn.
It's a
Like, why
lot
would
of
you
money.
pay like for some?
Well,
It's
because
getting way too normalized now.
well,
Yeah.
part of it's because
I
they
think he's
feel
got.
no, they feel like because this girl probably has somebody that does all of her
Absolutely.
responding,
Yes,
sends
they
the
do.
DMs.
They have talkers.
So they're
Yes.
thinking, oh, she's talking to me.
Oh,
Hey,
you actually
hi,
interact?
cutie.
Yeah.
Well, they have
Oh,
those. Hi,
yes.
cutie. Thank you for liking my video. Like I've never watched it. I've never bought a.
Yeah, because somebody was making $6 million. She must have like a
they're
million followers.
interacting.
There's no way she's.
Oh no, she has a
communicating
lot
with
of followers.
million people.
And they're interacting, dude.
Yeah.
They're interacting.
Well, she's not.
Well, no, she's not. She has people that she pays.
Yeah, yeah.
Because she's making
So
millions of dollars.
what
Right.
did
She
you
can
say
do that.
about? I mean, yeah, she's one female, but all of these millions of guys,
There's
of
tons
these
of
guys,
them
like, what
out
do you
there.
say about the guys that are paying her? I mean,
Well, that's what I mean.
That's what he's
Who do you
touching on.
blame?
yeah, who do you
I don't
blame?
know.
But I think Jed touched on the most
It's
important point.
normalized.
It's become a social norm.
Yes. It's normal.
I
Well,
think,
and
I think more people are living online than they are
That's-
living in
yes.
the real
That's
world.
the real
I
matrix.
I think
right.
honestly too,
It's a real matrix,
it's
right?
it's a
Yeah.
double-edged sword as well too. When they came up with this whole feminist movement and demasculating men, you guys fucked it up for us women. I'm just saying that. Like, there's
well, because now women complain, right? Women want. I just want a normal man. I
Masculine
want a guy
man.
that can go out and
Yeah.
mow the lawn and come home and he's sweaty from working, or I know, hey, if my tire needs to get changed, I know my husband.
I
He can go
can
do it.
do all of that
Right.
shit,
And
but
fix
I
the
don't
leaky
want to.
faucet.
And
You
fix
guys
the,
ruined
just
it.
basic, right?
Fix the
Women,
toilet valve
I see
that's
that all the time.
broken.
They're looking for, like, can we find just a guy who's a guy?
Yes.
Just-
yes.
Doesn't have to be manly. He's just a dude. He's a regular guy. He's a man, you know?
Provide, protect, problem solve, and do all the man
Yeah.
things.
It's crazy that
And
that's
when
not a
there's
thing.
men like that around, women are more susceptible for being in their feminine. Like you
Yeah.
women, that this whole feminist movement kind of seriously, they fucked it all up. And then it made you guys like throttle back and be like, okay, girl boss, go fucking do your
Oh
thing.
my God,
And then you
that
guys
crazy stuff.
got your
Yeah.
foot off of the throttle and got comfortable as well too. So it is a double-edged sword.
You know,
Yeah, yeah.
people, guys don't even get out to open the door
Yeah.
when they pick up a girl.
Mm.
Do
for a
what?
date.
I'm
Like,
sorry.
they
They don't
don't even
open
get
the
out to
door.
open the door.
Yeah.
Like
The
I
chivalry
was
of
taught
it,
that
right?
was normal.
Yeah.
Like you pick them up,
Yeah.
you go back to the car, you get in front and make sure you open that fucking door.
Yeah.
Well, you have women and this.
Well, I know where you're going because I've seen the video.
There's some women
Listen,
that
I want to hear what you have to
Well,
say.
they think guys are like simps, dudes that do certain things, right? They think, oh, this guy's weak because
Fuck that bitch.
he's kind of like kissing their ass, maybe because
No, there's rules.
no, there's rules, but
Yeah.
here's
there's
the
a
thing.
line.
And
Yeah.
well, here's the thing, right? There's different guys, right?
Yeah.
There's guys who can be masculine, they are masculine, and they do that, and it's good. And there's other dudes who are trying to be masculine, they don't really know how, unfortunately. And then the women kind of walk all over them.
If they're
And I
not
see that.
confident, yeah,
I've seen
it
that.
makes a big
Yes.
difference.
There's two different types, right? Because they're trying to be, but they don't really know
Those are soy boys.
the soy boys.
Yeah.
They don't really know how to be masculine.
Beta soy
And the women
boys.
see through
The
it.
low
Yep.
T boys.
And then what happens is right? The guys who are very masculine, who have their shit together, who work hard, they end up getting a lot of women. And all these other dudes are sitting there watching OnlyFans.
Jerking off to OnlyFans.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
one guy's got these 10 women that want him, and there's these 20 guys out here that don't have girlfriends or dates ever.
Mhm.
But this one dude can pick through 10 different ones because he's the one guy who is actually being a man, right?
Yeah.
He's doing
Mhm.
what a guy does.
Yeah.
And so these women are frustrated. They're going, well, where's all the guys? Like, where are all these guys to choose from? Like, we can't, there's no selection out here for them, right?
Because go ahead, Jed.
Oh, so there's this also normalization of the dad bod bullshit that fucking pisses me
Oh,
off.
the dad
Yeah.
vibe,
And
yeah.
then they'll look down.
Well, I
on-
think that was a joke,
Well,
and it
and
turned
then
into a
they'll
thing.
look down on like girls that are muscular, and guys will be intimidated by that.
Yeah.
And so, my thing is, guy or girl, if they're muscular and in shape, you already know they can stick to a plan, they can work hard, they can do a lot of the things that are needed in life.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
when guys like, oh, that's gross, I'm like, well, I know she can do A, B, C, and D, or else she wouldn't look like that. So maybe I should give it a shot because there's some good qualities.
hmm
People don't judge a book by its cover, but sometimes the way a person looks can tell you a lot about them.
Oh yeah.
Now she might be a raging cunt.
Right.
And it might only last a date or
Yeah,
two.
right,
But
right.
I mean, at least I know she works hard and can dedicate. And
Yeah,
be
she's got good
confident.
work ethic,
Yeah.
definitely. But at the same time, there's the flip side of the coin for the guys who will not step up to the plate to a strong, independent woman, if you want to call her that.
Yeah.
And they don't want to adhere to the responsibility. Like, holy fuck, I got to up my game. If she's that
Right.
strong, you
Or
know,
if they're really just confident, have no ego, it's not gonna bother them.
yeah.
I mean,
and
guys
Yeah.
that's
that are
well too.
insecure, it's gonna bother them.
Yeah.
I mean, have you guys seen this too? Like, and it's interesting, especially with these younger women. They're like, I've seen on Instagram, so, oh, what kind of guy would you stay away from? Oh, I wouldn't date a bodybuilder. I wouldn't date a guy who's into working out because
Yeah.
they're
Liars.
so conceited. They're
Liars.
into themselves. No, they were doing
Yeah.
these.
Yeah.
It's interesting, right? They're saying that in front of the camera, right?
Right.
The reality is they're saying that, but if they meet that guy, they're going to be attracted to that guy. They're probably going to date that guy, right? But in their mind, it sounds like the right answer because these guys are conceited. They think they look great, which they do look good, probably, right?
Well,
Doesn't mean that they're conceited.
Anytime
but-
there's like a Chippendale thing, I don't see dad bods up on the stage.
well, that's what I'm saying.
And a whole bunch of women
That's what's
screaming.
interesting.
For,
And it was
you
a
know?
lot of they were interviewing all these younger women. Now, these women in their 30s and stuff, they're like, oh yeah, give me a guy who works out. Like, I want that guy. But these younger women, it's becoming a trend. It's almost like,
Well, because they're being propagandized.
it's
There's
right.
a
No,
real movement.
it's a movement, right? And it's like the right thing to say in front of the camera. But the reality is, these girls are attracted
But
to
you know
guys
how
that
you can
work
prove
out.
like a psyop in a propagandize? Just look at Hollywood,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? Because Hollywood is all propaganda,
Yeah.
right? Before, like when they were trying to get us to be all behind war, there was tons of war move, Rambo, fucking all this ultra masculine, like,
Yeah.
shit, like Top Gun,
Favorite
like
movies that I
American
grew up
Eagle.
with.
it's just like all that kind of stuff, right? And then we're all like, we want to be freaking Navy SEAls. We want to freaking do this. We want to we just want to fight.
That's why
but
I
we're
joined the
fighting the wrong
military.
fucking wars, right?
They got me, dude.
Yeah.
I joined the
No.
military because of fucking
Iron
Hollywood.
Eagle.
I know. Oh, that was a good one. Yeah.
No, but look at
Tropical jungle.
but look at now. Look at now, like
Tropical Thunder. Yeah.
all the hitman movies are chicks. Like all the assassins
I
are
know where you're
girls.
going with it. And the Marvel stuff.
All the
Oh,
Marvels,
God,
all the like the
yes.
generals of all the armies are women.
No, you're right.
And all the
It's
action
become a
heroes
thing.
are skinny and
Yeah.
frail looking.
Right.
Back in
They're
the
very
80s,
they're
all
very
jacked.
small. Yes.
But how many
yes.
like this has been overdone, like the Nikita or like where
Nikita, yeah.
the women assassin, right? There's 900 of those fucking movies, right?
Yeah.
Where these women are like taking full on hits from 300-pound guys, like, oh, I'm just shaking it off and
Yeah, I know.
heel kicking. And
I
I'm
know.
like, give me a
Just come on.
break.
And the
Yeah,
minute
it
you hit
doesn't
your
work.
period, you're unable to do shit.
Yeah,
It doesn't
yeah,
work like
yeah.
that. It doesn't.
No, I'm not
out the
mocking.
window.
I'm not
Sorry.
mocking, but it's just like
No, I know what you're saying.
they're throwing that shit down our throats like constantly.
Yeah.
And like, look at the new like Lord of the Rings, like that series, right? The lead warrior is a
Yeah.
woman, right? Now it's just
Well-
like it's all these like, and then the men are the subservient.
And then the next John Wick's gonna be ballerina.
Yeah,
Well, I've seen it on social media, and
there
you guys
is, right?
probably
It's
see
like-
it.
yeah,
Ballerina.
I've seen it. The girl in the Walmart parking lot yelling at the guy, and she punches the guy, and the guy's like, "What?" And he freaking punches her, and she just gets knocked out.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "I don't know, this chick. She punched me, so I punched her back.
Yeah.
Whatever." I'm not saying that that's the right thing, but the reality is, what are you doing hitting a guy? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you a female punching a guy in his face?
well, because
And
she's
thinking
getting,
that
she's
you're
getting,
not gonna get
she's
knocked,
getting
like-
propagandized too.
Like,
you
yeah,
know?
like, hey, some people might punch back, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Or some people might just push you or
So,
whatever.
Like,
But
besides, it's predictive programming. All
Yeah.
in our movies,
just
TV,
wild.
and all of that.
the
predictive
behavior
programming.
trips me out though.
Mhm.
Like
So-
that behavior is
So
like, what
like
are you doing?
you got to ask like who's behind it, right? Who's trying to take down America? I feel like it's just like these globalist cabals, right? Not
Mm.
necessarily our enemies like China or something, but
Yeah.
I do think like we heard it right out of Klaus Schwab's mouth. Like we have to revolt against this populist movement. We have to crush them. That's what he
Yeah.
said. We have to crush them, right? Who are
Yeah.
you talking about crushing? You're talking about the people like against these global elites.
Yeah, back to Mark's
You
thing
know?
about like women thinking that they could take guys. Like women have with this whole feminist thing emasculated guys so much that you actually think you could beat up a guy.
Yeah, I know.
Some,
Even a feminine guy, I mean,
Yeah.
it's still a guy.
It's
Sorry.
still a guy.
Like, yeah. Like,
For all of the martial arts and boxing and everything background that I do have and what I'm trained to do now, there's no way that I would stand toe to toe with a guy just because like he stole my parking or something. Like
right. You don't know. Like, yeah, and hey,
give it a few more generations. Like
Yeah, I don't know,
maybe
it's
a
for
ton
a
of-
crazy.
female to
It's
think
crazy to
think
me.
she could take a guy, my gosh, I don't know.
I know.
That's somebody's theory, like somebody's theory of the greens, the little aliens and stuff. It's not that they're from another planet. That's us in the future.
Oh yeah.
You know,
yeah.
from
Yeah.
adaptation and
Yeah.
adaptation, right? We're
That they
just
can't
these tiny
reproduce
little,
now.
like skinny, freaking, like frail bodies.
To where they can't
Yeah.
reproduce or anything.
Yeah.
Well, then
Right.
they-
Yeah, they have no
Yeah.
sex. Yeah,
Just
right.
as
Yeah.
long as they keep steroids on the
Yeah, right.
Can you imagine like the steroids an alien race would
I
have?
can't believe they haven't
Yeah.
really. I can't
Yeah.
believe like this movement hasn't come after that.
steroids?
You know,
That's why I mentioned
Like
last
come
week.
after that harder. You know, like
Yeah.
That's why I
Yeah.
mentioned last week. They're cracking down on all like UGLs now.
yeah, I bet.
no, they
just
started doing
posted
it,
up on
right?
that.
When-
They posted up on that.
when-
Wait, so they're starting
When
to do it now.
fentanyl is the leading like killer in America, they're doing nothing to curtail the fentanyl push, but yet they're going to
flipping
go
on
after
UGL.
something that
Everything for
makes you hit a
steroids.
ball a little bit further.
Yeah.
You know, it's just so
Yeah.
disgusting. Like it's
And they're
just,
doing it again.
it's
So that was
outrageous.
2007. They really went crazy on it.
Who
So-
is-
wait, is it the feds?
these
that are coming
underground
after
labs,
them?
right?
Yeah.
What harm are they doing?
Making
Even if-
money
they're
with and not
supplying-
getting
but
taxed.
even if you get like
Yeah.
a
They're not
taste,
paying their
you might.
taxes.
How many people die from like an underground steroid like thing? Like almost none. There's some that get
Right.
abscess, you know, and don't
Right,
get it taken
right.
care of. Oh, look how many fentanyl is killing like hundreds of
More
thousands of
people die from
Americans.
cigarettes and alcohol than steroids. So,
If
Yeah.
you keep outlawing steroids, then we're just gonna buy more off the black market.
Yeah.
So you're just making them richer. When you
Yeah,
outlaw
exactly.
shit,
Oh yeah,
Well, 'cause
you
it
are
never goes
pumping money in the
away.
black
Yeah, it
market
never
when
goes
you are
away.
outlawing shit.
yeah. You know, and the whole reason why they made steroids illegal was because it was being used in sports for cheating, but yet not one person has ever been convicted, not one athlete, professional
And
athlete.
you know what? Let's face it. We were all watching baseball when that shit was going on.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Everybody watched
Now nobody
baseball
watches
then.
it.
Now nobody cares.
I love that. That was like the best time ever.
That's
Fuck
why
yeah.
I'm
The
looking
70
forward to
home
that
runs and-
enhanced games or whatever, like to see
Yeah, I
these
can't wait to
freaks
see that.
perform under medical care. I think that would
Oh,
be
yeah.
revolutionary for the steroid industry. We need more men to be men, not
So
soy
imagine
boys.
like the
I
first
agree.
time we actually admit we know an alien race and they come down here and they're like, this is what you guys call steroids?
Yeah.
You want to see some shit we got? And they got like some crazy ass stuff that's like blow your mind.
Yeah. Like,
You know,
Doesn't
turns you
aromatize
into
or
an
anything.
absolute, like, yeah, gamma ray, like,
Follistatin.
turns into the Green Hulk
like a
mutant.
legit Incredible Hulk shit.
Yeah.
this
Oh my
podcast
God.
is great. We got some hidden gems way at the backside of this podcast that people aren't gonna know about. But
If you lasted all
I
the
mean,
way
if you can
through.
make it through, you got some crazy
Remember
stuff
we
in
thought
here.
follistatin was like the myostatin
Yeah,
inhibiting,
inhibitor.
like that was like going to be the big like mutant maker.
Yeah,
you
they
know?
did so many studies on it, and it's so lackluster. Our
Yeah.
bodies are not the same as freaking cows.
Yeah.
Apparently,
No.
very lackluster on follistatin.
Interesting.
I did bring it up because these aliens are going to have something better than follistatin
Yeah.
or myostatin inhibitors.
Hey, you know that they
Well,
that
they're
they
doing
say,
it. They're doing it at the embryonic stage during
Yeah, they
CRISPR,
are.
right? They can turn off the myostatin gene. You know,
Yeah.
but that person wouldn't live past 20.
No won't live long.
You know, like
You-
you got to have regulation on muscle
Yeah.
growth.
Have you
know?
heard of that?
As you're saying,
Your
That the
heart would
Hawaiians
just explode.
The Hawaiians, they so you know, like the Hawaiians were making all those tikis and stuff, especially on like the Big Island, right? They have the burial grounds and all that, and they, you know, those are supposed to be aliens, right? So they were saying
What?
that. Did you know
No,
this?
no.
So the Menehunis
Uh-huh.
were supposedly it's a hybrid of an alien human, and they were like 3 feet tall, and they used to work at night.
Mhm.
That's why I say Menehunis come out at night, and they would build all this stuff at nighttime because they were part this other, I don't know, alien, whatever, and they would do all this crazy stuff, build all these walls, rock walls, do
Halos and
all
that
these
stuff.
crazy things because they were super strong. They were this different type of breed of
Mm.
person. They weren't like a human, right? And then there was the other aliens, the bigger tikis, right? The ones with the big head.
Oh, like
Those
Easter
were-
Island.
Yeah, like those were the ones that kind of like they kind of oversaw everything. And so that's a theory, you know, that the Hawaiians, that there were aliens. There were aliens there that came down, and they were kind of like, you know, in the island paradise, that there were aliens here in Hawaii, you know, years ago, right? And Hawaii was such a clean place, right?
Mhm.
There was no insects, there was no bugs, there was no rats, it was nothing, right? And so it's kind of an interesting theory. There's like
Well,
shows
not
on
to
it.
say aliens, but
Well,
I think they were
say-
very,
well, they
very,
say
very
it was
far
aliens.
advanced beings.
Well, they say they were beings
That were of the earth
here,
already.
They were
here, right? And the Menehune, actually there was a thing about it with the Menehunes, that there were still Menehunes around. They were hiding around up until the early 1900s. There were still some that people had seen. They were they had big eyes, and they were really tiny. They were 3 feet. Like, it was interesting. I was like, wow, this is kind of an interesting thing.
Now they make bottled water.
And
Yeah.
hey, man, Menehune.
Yeah.
Well, it's a different Menehune. He's just like a short Hawaiian dude. But
Yeah.
they look like little aliens. I don't know. It's pretty interesting, these stories, and I kind of.
I
It
don't-
is.
I
When
don't-
you look at these tikis, you got to wonder, why do they make them like
I
that
don't
with
believe
those
in
big eyes?
I don't believe in aliens from like far distant planets.
Right. Well, like, is it? You're actually thinking that they're from here already.
But if you-
Like, you believe in the whole they live in the water, like the Antarctica,
I mean,
and all these different
just
things.
well, just as far as what I know of physics,
Yeah.
you know, which is not a ton, you know, but if you're able to travel the speed of light, right? So the nearest like possible inhabited planet,
Yeah.
you know, that we know of, right, is like light years away.
Well, it's
Right.
wormholes, right?
Yeah, but
That's what
even
they-
then, right?
Or
So
warping
Or
space-time.
wormholes.
yeah, but even then, right? So like, let's just say like you came from the Andromeda's freaking
Mhm.
like whatever, right?
But he's bringing stuff
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we're
then-
going deep on this
And
one.
then you travel at the speed of light all the way to like the Milky Way galaxy, and you get into like planet Earth. Okay, fine. But if you were to go back now, like your home planet is 1,000,000 years later.
True. Yeah,
So-
because of time.
I doubt anybody's traveling like that. Because what's the point?
And you know what's crazy?
So you think that these so you
Even if it
believe
only
that,
took you
wait,
like
and
a
you
minute.
believe that there are beings
Yeah, I
other
think
than human
I,
out there.
I think possibly,
There
but
is
they're coming from the earth.
there's
here.
From here.
advanced
Yeah.
civilization here upon
Here
us
on
on
Earth.
Earth, I believe. But as far as the whole travel thing, we will never know all of that stuff until we talk to Jesus and die, or die and talk to Jesus. And but besides that whole thing, I mean, that's another rabbit hole in itself.
Yeah.
Nothing related to
Yeah,
fitness.
we get
Yeah.
into lost technologies and
No,
all that
yeah.
shit and frequency and
It's
vibration and all
interesting.
that.
It's interesting stuff, and that's for another episode. But I thought
But
that
the
was
thing that
interesting.
fascinates is like when they say only 5% of our ocean has actually been explored.
That's
That
where
part.
I think they
Right.
live, in
But
the
that-
abyss.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, but I thought the same thing. But here's my thought on that. I was like, when you look at it like a globe, you can see the topography of the whole thing. I didn't realize that that's all just an estimate
It's
by
not
this
real.
this technology where they can measure like
Right.
a wave type
Right.
of thing, and it gives them like an idea of what maybe like the bottom of
They
the
don't
ocean,
really
but
know.
they haven't got a clue.
Yeah.
They really haven't got a clue. So it's
Yeah.
true that like most of the ocean, they don't have an idea on how deep it is, what's down
So
there.
like how they're finding waterfalls in the ocean, or even freshwater in the middle.
Or they
of the
found whole
oceans as well, too.
civilizations
They
underwater,
also
like
oh,
ancient
yes.
civilizations
yeah.
they found under there.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I mean,
I'm actually now I'm gonna go home. I'm
Menahunis,
gonna,
man. Look up Menahunis.
I'm gonna go home and watch The Abyss while I'm food prepping.
Oh, The
Yeah.
Abyss is great. I love that.
I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean that was all about that, right? With they were underneath the water. There were these beings under the water. Yep. So anyway,
Well, you
interesting
remember,
topics.
like,
We got into some crazy stuff
Commander
today.
David Fravor, like when he was following that Tic Tac, and he said when the Tic
Oh,
Tac
yeah.
head dropped down to the
Yeah,
water, there was
yeah.
something underneath the water that was like
Yes.
larger than the freaking
I remember that.
aircraft carrier that they
Uh-huh.
were on.
Yeah.
He said it was enormous, and it was just below the surface of the water
Yeah.
where you could see it, and then it disappeared as the Tic Tac flew up in
So
the air.
the water is where probably right. There's
I think
another
some of them
race
live.
of beings that live, and they've been there for thousands of years.
Feel
And
like
they're
space
very
water like that.
advanced, and that's where they are. And maybe they were like us once, and they evolved into this
Yeah, could
different
be.
being.
Yeah, just like a lot of the.
And maybe they
we can
were.
go down that whole Lemuria route,
Right.
the Celestines.
And they decided to go under
you
the
know?
water over the time. Over time, they just decided to. I mean, who knows? We all,
Well, I believe in like the human race just keeps like repeating itself on the
Right.
planet, and we face a cataclysmic event where
Yeah.
it
Starts over.
destroys
Yeah.
nearly everything, and then but little survivors teach a little bit of what they know, and we start over again.
Mm, yeah.
That's why we're not allowed to know much on the alien disclosure yet, because I don't think we're advanced enough to realize like there's people that, or not people, there's things out there that are beyond our own comprehension, and we're just gonna.
I'm getting so
Continue to
sick of
live
that,
with
like
this.
those congressional hearings, and like you get all excited, and they're not saying anything. Well, I'll discuss that with you in a private forum. They're like, then what the fuck are you
But
even
they don't
having this
want
thing
they
for?
don't want us to advance. They want to keep us betas. They want to keep us sick. They want to keep us dumb
Well,
and fat.
I think they're using a lot of
out
this
of
shit as a
shape.
distraction. Like,
Mm.
like anytime like they want to take the eye off of something important, they talk about aliens. Because
About aliens.
everybody will be glued to the TV.
Everybody's
'Cause
fascinated,
we all,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I want to believe so bad that they're real, and that the
Yeah,
UFOs are real, right?
Right.
And they snag me every damn time.
They get
And
you.
every time like they have these congressional hearings where it's like, oh, this alien thing, I'm like, okay, sit back and take a look. What else is going on?
Mm.
Oh, we're launching missiles into freaking into Russia.
Mhm.
ICBMs, like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, that should be the headline news, not fucking UFOs flying
Yeah.
over the White House. Like,
Yeah. Because they're doing
like, oh, well, yeah,
No, the headline news should be taking responsibility for your guys' health as we wrap up this show.
yeah.
Mhm.
Otherwise,
Yeah,
we'll go down
going back.
another
I
tangent.
know we're good.
Mm.
No, it was a good one. It was a good one. We started off, just kind of being funny about ocean life, but anyway.
Hey, we went back to the
we
ocean.
did. We did go back to the ocean, right? You see mammals and
circle.
ocean life. We love it.
Yeah,
All right. Well, that was an interesting one.
whales
Thank
are
you.
aliens.
Thanks for joining us on this very interesting episode of Paradise Pump. And we'll see you next time. And we'll probably have a guest next time, just so you know. An
Hopefully,
interesting guest.
yes.
We've got one.
Yes.
So take care and aloha.